Hello, welcome to episode 308 of the UK Steelers podcast. You're joined by me, Simon Winstanley. I got my friends here, Gavin Marshall, Mark Hansen, Ketts, who is at this very moment patiently waiting for a kebab from Sizzling. What was it? What was it, Ketts? What was the
Sizzling
place?
Slice in
Sizzling
Tottenham. They don't
Slice.
deserve an advert. They've been
No, they
crap.
don't, do they? Yeah.
So restart the podcast.
Screw Sizzling Slice. They're just one spot behind Spotify in our company hate rankings.
They're on the blacklist.
Yeah.
The avoid.
That's the dulcet tones of Gavin Marshall. How you doing, Gav?
Not too bad. All right. How you doing, Si?
Oh.
Glad to have you back.
Yeah. I enjoyed listening to... we got through half of last week's episode. Congratulations, Ketts, on the QB quiz win.
Thank you.
Go back and listen to last week's episode on YouTube or Patreon, where we exist in the bootleg era, if you want to catch the QB quiz. How are you feeling about the bootleg era, Gav? We've been talking about it before the show, but in terms of the shows themselves...
I've enjoyed the shows,
Yeah.
and I thought this was an opportunity maybe to maybe pick up some new listeners and have a different vibe. But I kind of want it to be over now. I want to be back to normal.
You want to be legitimized by the system again.
I don't like going into my podcast app and seeing our podcast with a little exclamation mark on it.
Does it have an exclamation mark on it?
Yeah. So this cannot be updated.
Oh, I don't like that.
No. So I kind of want to clear that
But
exclamation
here we
mark.
are. We're manually updating the internet, on our goings on. I don't know if anyone's listening, but we're updating them.
Oh no, they are. We're getting listeners on YouTube, but I think it's like mainly the hardcore. There's no kind of like random listeners. But usually our numbers pick up as the season starts, doesn't it? So as long as we're sort of back to normal, then it'll be okay. Otherwise, who knows what happened?
I heard it in your voice in the last episode, Gav, at the start when you said, when Mark slagged off Spotify and you said, "Oh, you mean the company that we're trying so hard to get back on?" I just felt the corporate apologism come out in you.
Well, I just want to keep all options open at this moment.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy to burn some bridges, I'll tell you that. All right. On this episode, we're going to do... it's going to be a fun episode, I think, because I love talking fantasy, as you know, as we all do, I think, on this show. We're going to do a big fantasy blowout, a fantasy primer heading into the season. I think a lot of us are kind of getting ready to draft our redraft leagues, at least. I know a lot of us have drafted our dynasty leagues already because... Well, I'm like you, Gav. I like to draft Dynasty just the second the draft is over. So,
yeah, that's the time, isn't it?
Yeah, that's just fun. That's just when the hype train is going. But now's the time for all your redraft leagues, your auction leagues, your all sorts of stuff going on. So we'll get into all that after we get into some training camp whispers. Of course, as I say, be ready at any moment, listener. Ketts could have to dart away to get a kebab, and then once it arrives, we will be inspecting it live on the show. He'll be filling us in on a taste profile, the visual. We'll describe it to you. Constitution, smell, and
dexterity rating.
If we're still recording by tomorrow, the constipation that comes as a result,
or the free flowingness.
Not sure which way it goes for Ketts. We can check in on that next week.
Depends on sauce selection usually.
Huh? That's a question I can't answer. That is garlic mayo.
Oh, that's going to be a tough one. All right.
Yeah.
You don't have sauce. You don't have an opinion.
That's probably where the constipation comes from. All right, tell you what, here's a group of people that didn't pay for this kind of talk. The wonderful Patreon producers that are really powering us through this bootleg era of the show. Jason Bowdler, Rob Ferguson, Teenage Mutant Ninja Dave Hart, Glenn Jones, Matt Audley, Steve Williams, Ian Ferrugia, Christian Robb, Thomas Fielding, Joe Pearson, our resident food correspondent Christopher Anderson, Philip Williams, Laura Casey, Michael Coonahan, Paul Fielden, the obscenely handsome Lee Matthews, and the Aussie Storm, Galileo West.
Thanks to those wonderful producers.
Legends one and all, including Gal, who messaged me after the show went up last week and said, well, I guess that's my yearly appearance out the window.
Oh, Gal.
Because I did tell him he could come on the quiz episode, but it just, things have just not timed out right, the way it's kind of, we've hurtled towards the, training camp and...
Sorry, Gal.
Are we going to play the Patriots this season? Maybe we could actually let him get on here and, get some real football takes off.
Yeah, like week 3, isn't it?
Oh,
yeah,
really?
week 3. Yeah.
Oh, he hasn't got long to wait at all.
Yeah, let's get going on talking actual football.
Yeah, I'm sure that'll go well.
Yeah.
Did he get us actually banned from Spotify? Is this the root cause of the issue?
He was one of the last guests on the show before we got taken down. So
yeah,
we can't
but
rule
we
it out,
took all
Ketts.
that out. So I don't know. Maybe they knew.
Did I take enough out?
Was there a mole on the inside? A Spotify mole?
All right, let's jump into before we get to all the fantasy stuff. So if you're listening for the fantasy stuff, well, don't skip ahead, but just wait, sit there and patiently and listen because we're going to talk about training camp.
You can if you're listening on YouTube, you can just double tap the right of the screen a few times, and you'll
Don't
probably
tell
get
them
there.
that.
Don't
we
do
want
that.
them to listen to the whispers.
Okay.
Can we now? Can everybody give me their best whisper?
Well, I will do in a sec, but I don't know if you can hear. My cat is absolutely rinsing the cat flap right now, so I'll very quickly give my whisper, and then
Was that a euphemism?
No, I'm sad. Well, I was going to say sad.
Damn, boy, he's thick. Boy, that's a thick ass boy. Damn.
He actually
I think
is
that
as
drop
well.
can come down a bit. That
That one's probably a bit loud.
That one came in a bit hot, didn't it?
Yeah, I think it
can't
was
hear
so
it.
loud he actually managed to get out of the cat flap in that time. So that's solved that. So thank you for that. But he is a thick boy as well. So he's. So you want our best whispers? Oh, we didn't go out of the cat flap. Right, everyone else do their whispers, and I'll sort this bloody cat out.
Ketts.
Cadbury's whispers.
Cadbury's whispers. What were they again? Was that the white chocolate one? No, that was Dream, right? What was it? What was
No,
it?
Whisper was a chocolate bar launched in the 80s. Yeah.
No, Whisper's still around. What am I talking about? Whisper's the like they have so many that are kind of like that, but I do like a Whisper.
It's like a flake, but not like a flake.
Yeah,
it's
right,
like
exactly. Yeah,
bubbly,
like a flake.
velvety on the inside.
But then they
Yeah,
also
sorry,
have
I
a
just-
twirl,
I just thought I'd derail the whispers section by mentioning chocolate bar.
Yeah. Okay, Gav, you not got away with it.
Whispers.
Oh, I don't know about that. That felt very 5 out of 10 effort.
So we're getting. Sorry.
You can't get a second
I'm
go
not
at that.
performing monkey side.
Okay, all right. Some monkeys, like to perform on their own, All right. McAfee was at training camp this week. I don't know. Did anyone watch any of the McAfee stuff? I haven't really caught up with it.
I did very much watch that, and it actually kind of leads to my what I kind of hinted to you guys on the group chat is my kind of potentially unpopular opinion for some people, maybe more leaning into a popular opinion, and this is kind of based off what I saw on McAfee and kind of based off the last few days of camp. Guys, I don't know if it's the rose-tinted glasses coming on. I don't know if I've been sipping a little bit of the Kool-Aid. I think I'm liking Pittsburgh Aaron Rodgers. I actually think I like the guy a little bit at the moment, and it's unbelievable. It is
Fair weather mark, blowing in the wind,
potentially,
like a little windsock,
potentially, very much potentially. I don't know why. I just feel the
I'm
vibe
glad
is
you're coming
good.
onto my side of the table.
The vibe is just feeling good with him at the moment, and this could all go down the toilet after week 1, but I don't know. I very much enjoyed his interview on McAfee, and I just think the vibes are good at the moment. And he had his best day at camp today, apparently. Like it's very much his best camp.
It's hope season.
It is.
I think we should check in after a difficult Monday night loss. When things haven't gone his way.
100%.
Let's see. But I'm with you, Mark. I mean, I've been saying this from the start. I
think I'm getting one round.
Let's get excited here. We've got a Hall of Fame quarterback on the team.
No, let me just say, I don't know if necessarily it's all about the play. I'm just saying about the character of Aaron Rodgers himself. I'm feeling it a little bit with him in Pittsburgh. I think it feels like he's a different kind of guy. I think he's a guy who knows he's into his last year and just wants to have a good time with it.
Business mode. The terrible experience at the Jets has probably done him some good.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we thought that would be the case with Russ as well, and didn't exactly pan out. But
the play
different
dropped
vibe.
off. But
Different vibe.
But, Rodgers more of a cerebral quarterback, I think, than Russ is. And,
yeah.
Rising tide lifts all boats.
But no, I just I know he's not everybody's cup of tea. He wasn't my cup of tea, to be honest. But something about it, man. Like
focus mode.
Slightly winning me over, yeah.
Wow.
Don't believe the hype, people.
We didn't even get 5 days into training camp, Ketts, and already the Jets' Aaron Rodgers has won out.
Oh look, it's the sound of the Aaron Rodgers train in the station. People clamoring aboard.
There's no tracks on the bridge.
How
Because
will
we're
it end?
floating, man. It's because we're
There's
floating.
dastardly Aaron Rodgers with the TNT thing blowing it up.
He's got a habit to find a dark tunnel and stay there, gents. That's all I'm saying.
I kind of feel you, Matt. I do. Vibes do seem high right now, and I think what Aaron Rodgers is bringing, like he did with the Jets, is like a sense of. I think things feel a little bit bigger this off season, right? In training camp, Latrobe usually is a little bit low key, right? It's just fans, and it's kind of a place where they get up close and personal in a way that you can't do anywhere else. And I'm sure it probably is this year, but it sounds like it's very busy, much more kind of active, and a lot going on.
Yeah, when the weather's fine.
Yeah, obviously it's been a bit rained out a few days, but yeah, I just think he's bringing with him a bit of a fanfare as well, which can be a good thing when the vibes are good. But as Gav says, that the games haven't begun yet.
No, and yeah, I'm tempering those expectations to a degree. I'm just saying, it's building up a little bit. He's still not my favorite quarterback in this quarterback room, but he's a dude.
Well, I got a few whispers here, but I'll throw it out to the room. I mean, does anyone want to bring any whispers to the table?
I think it's just exciting having a name like Jalen Ramsey.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's sunk in now, and then you're seeing him make plays in training camp, and you're thinking, okay, I said it last week, but it really feels like this team is competitive. Just with the moves that Omar's made, it just feels different to where we were end of season, doesn't it?
Doesn't it just feel wild to read reports that say Aaron Rodgers throws to DK Metcalf covered by Jalen Ramsey, and that's about the Steelers? Like that still blows my mind that I'm reading these reports and like, you wouldn't have dreamt of reading this time last year. Like, absolutely crazy. And now here we are, and it's like these are all Steelers. And yeah, I agree with you, Gav. Like, definitely a name like Ramsey, who has shown up and shown his versatility in camp as well. Exactly what we wanted to see out of him. Yeah, it seems to be rubbing off. I mean, Joey Porter Jr. had a great day the last couple of days. It seems to be rubbing off on him for sure. Yeah, it's wild, to be honest. And yeah, even DK, is now really showing a connection with Rodgers, especially today. It feels like there was a strong connection there. It is just absolutely awesome to see, and it does fill you with a lot of hope. And you just wonder, the media building us up a little bit. It's worrying to an extent because you're like, not used to this, and is this really? We were kind of negative when we did the schedule release show, and the kind of records that were going to come out. Especially I was, but man, could this team really be very competitive? I think it could be.
I tell you what it is. It's a great test because if this team comes out week one, can't move the ball, goes 3 and out, and it's exactly the same as it was last year, then we know there's problems and there needs to be changes in the coaching staff, right? But it's a great test for that, rather than it just being, well, the roster's not there, and we don't really know. This is clear. If they can't move the ball, then there needs to be changes.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's been a few fights broken out in camp so far between some of the new guys.
I did enjoy Aaron Rodgers having his money on either Zach Frazier or Mason McCormick to start the first fight. They've actually stayed out of scrapping by the sounds of it. They've done quite well in that regard. So, but yeah, no, been tetchy here and there with stuff. DK got a bit heated today as well. Yeah, it's fun to see, man. Like I do, I don't like it when it gets too out of hand and whatnot, and it feels a bit, too wild. But little skirmishes here and there, that's what you want to see, and a little bit of edge, a little bit of competition.
A lot of new guys, feeling each other out. A lot of physical guys, like you say. Jalen Ramsey wants to let people know he's there, and let's see, Jonnu Smith and Juan Thornhill apparently had a bit of a dust up.
Yeah,
DK
Juan was
Metcalf
given a bit.
Chuck Clark, the new safety that got signed.
Juan was giving it a bit of all that. So yeah, he's got quite a mouth on him.
Yeah, Chuck Clark throwing punches at DK Metcalf. Wow. Okay.
Oh, I didn't see that. Yeah, blimey, that's why he was heated then.
Yeah. So yeah, things sounding physical, and it sounds like it's been. It's the first day they've got pads on, obviously, on, was it Tuesday?
Yeah, Wednesday was first pad because it was supposed to be Tuesday, but that got rained out.
Right, that was it. And so far, touch wood, we've avoided any serious injuries on day one of training camp, which we got stung with the last couple of years. There's been some D-line injuries, but more kind of sort of depth players. I haven't seen any injuries pop up other than Siamalu, but he's back in practice now. He's been taken off the did not practice list. So I think we're kind of, the starting 22 is effectively healthy right now, as far as I can see. Fatanu, I wanted to mention, apparently winning some reps against TJ Watt.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that was good or bad.
Yeah. It kind of depends what way you look at it, right? But I think it's good. I think it's good if TJ, because you want a guy to, I mean, even the TJ Watt isn't going to win every rep.
Yeah, but you've got the guy you've just signed to a mega deal extension to see him out to be dominating a guy that's not taking any reps in.
I think what you want is your tackle to be in the same league as your, superstar defensive or linebacker.
Yeah, just with the conversations we've been having about TJ and him being washed, it just piques my concern a tiny bit.
I'd be more concerned if I hadn't also seen that TJ had a couple of clear sacks on Rodgers at times, and he's still getting there. So yeah, I'm not as concerned. I'm more seeing it as a positive that Troy Fautano could actually be a really, really good right tackle option for us. Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it, to kind of balance it between offense and defense. You kind of like, one's going to succeed, the other's going to fail, and then you're like, well, which one should I really be focusing on? It's like it's quite difficult to kind of judge on it, really. But yeah, I'm not too concerned about that.
Cole Holcomb's back in pads for the first time since 2023. I just wanted to highlight that because he's not obviously been able to play any football for a long time, so we'll see how he goes. Apparently, he's looking relatively healthy. He's been participating. Early winners, Mark Robinson was highlighted a lot by Alex Kozora on the pod the other day.
Yes, yeah.
I think sometimes in these early days of training camp, though, guys like that, it's very easy for them to appear like winners, right? I mean, he's a hard-hitting linebacker. That's what he does best, and I think the
there's more to that.
Shines
more to that position than just hitting.
Right. But Patrick Queen's come out and said that it's a lot of that training camp stuff. It's like believe it when you see it. Patrick Queen says a lot better explanation on defense this year. I mean, well, all right. Where was it last year? I don't know.
Another year bedding in. I think that's what we're hoping for him, isn't it? Is that things become easier for Queen.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think one of the interesting developments is the usage of Jonnu Smith, how involved he's been, moving around the offense, getting handoffs, running back. Is he ahead of Caleb Johnson in the running back depth chart? I don't know. But interesting one. Running 4 tight ends with Jonnu Smith being the lining up in the backfield.
4 personnel. It sounds like a Arthur Smith wet dream. It's crazy.
I mean, they just coming out trying to dominate people in the trenches, and then you've got Aaron Rodgers at the back there hitting DK. I mean, this is a formula. Whether it's a Super Bowl or a championship or a division winning formula, I don't know, but it's a formula, and I kind of respect that, an identity.
Broderick Jones, I wanted to mention. If there's anyone that seems to be having a difficult time of it right now, I would say it's him. From what I'm hearing, he's had a couple days where he struggled to. I know he had that day where he came out and couldn't even get on the field. He's been dealing with a minor injury, which is always a struggle in training camp with a guy like this. Apparently, some of the reps he's had have not looked great. This is a guy you're hoping kind of is getting glowing reports at this time.
So,
it's not looking good, is it?
Yeah, so this is all the warning signs at this point of, I don't want to say it, but it's starting to look not good.
No, but I mean, one positive, like one of the kind of highlights of yesterday, I believe, was Calvin Anderson, who looked like he was doing really well taking those reps in his place. So, I mean, that's a positive. Whether that can continue into actual game time remains to be seen, but at least there's some positivity out of that. I mean, this depth is horrific, man. I mean, Gareth Warren, the UDFA that we talked about, that was going to say he's been taking second team reps. Like, this is this is what we're trying to kind of mix and match with at the moment.
Mm.
It's a concern, the depth, really. And if Jones isn't the guy, then God, you'd hope that someone like Calvin Anderson can step up.
Or Dylan Cook, I think he's been looking okay as well, right?
Yeah, Dylan Cook, absolutely.
It's really difficult because that then screws up the whole draft kind of policy for next year. Can you take a rookie quarterback if you don't know if your left tackle's competent?
I think they could always slide Fautanu over.
Yeah, I think they'd have to. But then you almost need to trade back up into the first round or take someone early in the second. Maybe that's where you package all of your picks together and get a quarterback and presumably a right tackle if they move Fautanu over to left.
Yeah, it depends what the kind of I don't know if we know quite what the tackle class is supposed to look like next year, but yeah, that could be if it's a deep class, we might be all right there. But if it's not, then yeah, maybe some decisions do have to be made.
I mean, even if Rodgers, let's say, runs it back another year, I think they've got to draft a quarterback, right? Unless Will Howard really is the real deal. But
well, I mean, I don't know if you talked about it when I just briefly stepped away there, but Will Howard is impressing a lot of people early on. I mean, he's definitely already getting these third team reps over Skylar Thompson now, and honestly, I am so excited to see him take his first snaps in preseason. Like, I am really, really interested to see how he gets on because he looks like he's really comfortable at the moment. He really looks like he's shining through, and I hope that translates because he could easily challenge Mason this season, I think, for the QB2 role if he keeps pushing this way.
it sounds to me like he's well, I've read that he's not got many wow plays, but he's come in, he's prepared, he's working hard.
Yeah,
and he's well ahead of where you would expect.
He's not
a rookie to be.
spectacular, yeah, but he's just getting the job done, and that's exactly. I think that's what you want sometimes.
It's that competitive winner.
Yeah, one kind of iffy one today where he completely missed an open tight end. I think it was Galbraith he missed in the end zone on a play. Like just completely didn't see him there. But otherwise, I've really not seen too much negative about Will Howard at all. A lot of people.
Well, we should see quite a lot of him in the preseason, right? We should see a fair deal of him. So we that information's incoming.
Yes, absolutely. I can't wait. That's the most exciting bit for me of preseason is to watch Will Howard.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to some Will Howard.
Hell yeah, our boy.
In the receiver room, I just wanted to mention Calvin Anderson. I think Calvin Austin is getting some buzz. I think
and Wilson, Roman Wilson too, is making some plays.
Yeah, Roman Wilson, especially today. Yeah, seems to have.
What's been happening today?
Oh, he's made some nice catches today over the middle. Yeah, some contested catches.
All right, good stuff. Yeah, because I was definitely wanting to see more out of him, and I hope he shines in the preseason. I hope we see a good amount of Roman Wilson in the preseason. I think we will.
Even Rock Taylor's getting some buzz, I think.
Yeah.
He's had a few bits and bobs today. Seems like, that kind of the receivers seem to have stood out a little bit today. But from the looks of it, so yeah, I'm excited to see if Rock Taylor can carve out a role of some sort. Big fan of his coming out of the draft, and if he can push, it'll be a tough one. It'll be an uphill battle for him, but if he keeps pushing and keeps impressing, then who knows?
Awesome. So. Well, it sounds like the defense is kind of winning a lot of the day early in training camp, which I think is to be expected early in training camp. But by the sounds of what you guys are saying, the offense has been piecing it together, and we're starting to get some good showings out of some of these younger guys. So that's exciting. And we'll when's the first preseason game? Next weekend, I guess, right?
Ooh, good question.
Because it's the Hall of Fame game tonight, which I'll be watching in a few hours.
Trey Lance versus, I believe, Hendon Hooker.
Oh no.
Yes, next week, midnight. It's Saturday into Sunday for us at midnight against the Jaguars. So
cool.
Possibly want to stay up for that.
Yeah, that'll be fun. All right, something to talk about. Well, not next week, but the week after, I guess.
Hell yeah!
Awesome. All right. Anything else on training camp? Anyone? Any more before we get into some fantasy talk?
Just league-wide, it's been interesting tracking Shedeur Sanders. I don't know if these people that are tweeting out from Browns camp are like me, just Shedeur fans.
Here we go.
But he's definitely, he's worked his way up from third team to second team, and then today he's been taking reps with the first team, and it's been looking good. So And it's one of the most interesting storylines, I think, this season about what happens with Shadur. But I'm still a believer, and it seems like he's got the goods, at least so far.
Well, they need some happiness, don't they? Like, I mean, yeah, Emerson out for the season. Like, what? It's just another dire thing for their season. Like going into it, guy, I mean, it's rough for them, I imagine. But yeah, if Sanders can be the guy for them, then I suppose that's a little bit of a light.
I don't know if you saw that clip I sent you earlier where he was had pressure and he stepped up into the pocket and delivered a zinger. You know, the criticism in the draft was that he only ever went backwards and sideways, and was terrible discipline wise from a QB drop and passer spot aspect. Well, some of the clips coming out of Brown's camp doesn't look like that at all. Looks like a polished kind of step up pocket quarterback.
Let me see it on the field. Let me see what happens.
Sure.
Yeah.
We'll see.
It's all well and good until you're actually allowed to be hit and put on the floor by a 350-pound man. Then see how well you step up into the pocket and deliver. Crack on.
All right, let's talk some fantasy, shall we? Now, Gav, you sent along so I've gone away and kind of answered all the questions you sent me, and I don't know how you want to go about this. But you sent along some kind of Mad Libs, some thoughts, some questions about some of the positions in fantasy this year.
Yeah.
And I figured we could kind of go through these just as an intro to talking about each of the positions. I don't know if each of you went away and answered them or if you've got...
Sure. Before we got into that, though, I just wanted to do our sort of annual strategy talk, draft-wise. Like, where are you strategy-wise? Because I know I've kind of settled on my strategy these days. I think it will change probably in a decade or so when the league has changed again. But at the moment, I've kind of settled on it. But what's your side? What's your kind of... We're talking, redraft. Dynasty is very different, obviously, because it's rookie drafts and things. But redraft, what's your kind of strategy?
Yeah, historically I've been quite, running back heavy, right? Which is, kind of a little bit the opposite of what you've liked to do in recent years. I think you've headed towards zero RB.
I'd say I'm hero RB.
Right. Yeah. And I've kind of liked to collect early round running backs. Sometimes, mainly just out of confidence in the depth of the wide receiver position and just believing that I can find value in the later rounds. This year, I guess we'll talk about it as we talk about each position, but this year I think both the running back and the receiver position feel, I don't know, just a little bit strange to me in that there's guys that I want right at the top and there's value dudes that I like, but there's just this really big, I guess what you would call, Gav, like you said, dead zone, where I'm just not that into you. For a lot of these guys in the mid-range, and I'm kind of interested to see how it plays out in my drafts. To answer your question, I kind of almost don't know, because there's guys at the receiver and the running back position I like if I've got an early pick, but if I'm falling outside of maybe the top 8 or 9, I'm starting to feel like I've lost out on value and I can kind of go anywhere. Have you got a particular strategy in mind that you think is the right way to go this year? Is that why you ask?
Me? Yeah, I've kind of settled on the hero RB recently.
You think that's still the way to go?
I think it's very much the way to go this year, and I will be doing it. So if you don't know, that means taking a very good running back early, so round 1 or round 2, and then not touching running back 6, 7, 8 rounds. So you're loading up on... it depends. If we're talking 2 quarterback, that changes it. But let's just talk about 1 quarterback league. So I wouldn't be taking a quarterback until round 10, 11, 12. I wouldn't be taking a second running back until round 7, 8, 9. So therefore, by the time I get to round 6, I've got 1 running back, 1 or 0 tight ends, and then the rest is wide receiver. Because I think the wide receiver depth, you're right, it's very deep at wide receiver, but it's been deep at wide receiver as long as I've been doing fantasy.
Yeah.
The difference is those running backs that we're talking about, most of them are committees. How many real bell cow running backs have you got? So the volume's down, and then by the time you get into the playoffs, half the running backs that you're taking in rounds 3, 4, 5, 6, they're going to be injured. So they're just not long-term value. So yes, the value can be there, and I always want to get value. If we get past round 6, I'm looking for running back value. If a guy's dropped, then I'll take him. So it's not about, this guy's a dead zone running back. David Montgomery's a dead zone running back. I'm never going to draft him. If he fell, I'll pick him up. I'll take him. If he falls to the 8th round, I'll take him. But it's not about that. It's about my roster construction. If I finish the draft and I've only got 2 or 3 running backs on my roster, I'm not going to be concerned because I know those guys are going to start, and I'm going to be playing waivers every week to try and get into a position where I've got, there's always some guys that come out of nowhere in the running backs. It's harder to find those guys with wide receivers. They don't tend to come out of nowhere. So I want a solid roster of wide receivers with one good running back that I can. He's my hero. That's the strategy, and then I'll go from there. But what about you, Mark or Ketts? Have you got a strategy, or you just kind of go with the flow?
I've tried to build strategies in the past, but I tend to end up not so much panicking, but just not, my thoughts just don't ever end up being straight when I end up doing it. And then as the board falls, I'm just like, oh, actually maybe this is the way to go, and it kind of all gets a little bit muddled. I've tried to keep to a strategy at times, but it's just it can get difficult, particularly in redraft. And like I like the idea of hero RB. I do I almost feel like I get gun heavy with RBs. I almost feel like if I've picked somebody if I picked a particular position in the first round, unless it's QB, obviously in a 1 QB, I kind of want to double dip a little bit. I almost feel like I want to get strong in one of these positions, whether it be running back or wide receiver. So even with the running backs, like if I can get 2 of the strongest RBs on the board, then I'll be loving life. But it kind of just is as it falls to me, and work it there. I do think there's a conversation to be had about some of these top tight ends as well. Depending on the scoring of your tight ends in leagues. I think there's a couple of we'll talk about them a little bit later on, but I think there's a couple of top tier ones that could have very, very early consideration. But I struggle to stick with something when it comes to it. I've got a game plan. I'm very much the Mike Tyson, everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth. I very much get punched in the mouth very quickly by redraft. And then
I do think you need to be flexible and be prepared to go, if everyone's doing hero RB, then there's going to be some good running backs on the board and you can pivot. But that becomes a value system. So I think you have to adjust your values according to the draft. So it's like if you draft a certain running back, then his handcuff becomes more valuable to you than anyone else. That's just a classic example of a value shift. So that's the same. If no one's drafting quarterback, you can be the first one to pull a trigger. That can be a beneficial thing to you. So I do think you need to be adaptive. So it's not like a locked in strategy. And likewise, you don't want to be locked in on certain players. I don't think. Well, I mean, we're going to get into that.
That's another struggle I've had over the years is that I get too locked into, this guy did great for me last year, so I'm definitely going to get him in. I'm definitely trying to shed the likes of Mike Evans, for example, like who could still do a job at times, but maybe I shouldn't rely on Mike Evans every single year. Like maybe
but then there's also the entertainment factor. Like you've got teams you want to watch, right? And I want to own the players that I like to watch on Red Zone or whatever. It's like, I know the Steelers often play at 6 p.m, so it's nice to have some players at 9 p.m, right? So that's kind of a counter strategy of, what do I want? But I think that comes into when you're picking between 2 players, like which, you've got 2 on the same board at the same value. You're like, okay, well, I'll pick the 9 p.m. guy because that makes 9 p.m. more exciting.
You've almost convinced me on the hero RB strategy thing, Gav. But the problem is this year that I don't know that you can get a hero RB no matter where you are in the first round of the draft.
No, I think it's first two rounds.
The first what? So what do you mean by that? Sorry.
My strategy is I want to get a good running back in either round 1 or round 2.
Right. Okay. Because my worry is that if I was going to do that strategy, I would basically want one of the top 3 running backs, and after that, I'm starting to get scared.
Well, it takes balls. I'm not going to lie.
But let's do it. Well, Ketts, have you got any strategy?
I think this year is a bit different. Now, I don't tend to do a lot of redraft leagues anymore, but I think this year, with the quality of the rookie running back class in particular, I think that must have some impact on your strategy. But that said, equally, I'm conscious that the NFL has very much returned more to a running game. It's not just a passing league as much as it has been maybe the last 5-6 years. So if you can get someone like a Saquon early on, or maybe like a Jamar Gibbs, who's very much like a receiving type running back, if you can get that kind of combination of that skill set, then I think that's valuable if you can get him early on. And then obviously if you get someone like a Derrick Henry playing on the Ravens team, then that's definitely, I think you need to pay kind of attention to the O-line that they're running behind, because that'll be important as the season plays out. Equally, I think Mark's point about tight end is really important. I don't think there's that many top tier tight ends anymore, and some of them have lost volume and maybe lost a bit of confidence. Like you think 2-3 years ago, a Travis Kelce and a Mark Andrews would be no brainers, where you're probably looking at them this year going, is Kelce going to get the volume, and is Andrews as reliable as he used to be? He seems to have lost hands a little bit the last few years or so. So maybe that does bring wide receiver more into the conversation. A lot of redraft leagues don't tend to take quarterback that high at all, and I always tended to take a quarterback, especially one that's dual threat, that's going to get the passing yards and the rushing yards and opportunities of rushing touchdowns as well. So I'd be inclined to give that a go, but I think I'd give Mahomes a miss in a redraft league this year. I think he's just not kind of at the same heights he was maybe 3-4 years ago.
Yeah, well, let's talk about QBs then, because Gav, the first thing you asked is how do you see round one going in one QB versus two QB leagues, and I think let's just talk about who those QBs would be in a Superflex league that you would, slam dunk take in the first round. And when if anyone's played Superflex, you've seen how the drafts go. It's like you get in and immediately 4, 5, 6 quarterbacks go off the top of the list, and then before the number one overall pick in any other league, Jamar Chase, Saquon Barkley, whatever, actually goes. So sometimes the guy with the 7th, 8th pick might end up getting one of these elite players. Where do you think the fall off is, Gav, this year on the QBs? Because I think I've got names in mind, but I almost don't want to sully your thoughts. Where do you think the fall off is this year in QB?
I think there's top 5 top quarterbacks.
5 top.
I think there is as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. So I've got 4 that I would be keen to take at the top of the draft before I took any position players in Superflex, and that's Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, and probably Jaden Daniels. But even that one I'm a little bit worried about just because of the injury concerns I have still about him.
Right. Okay. So I'm not saying that these are the top 5 picks in the draft in the draft, but I would definitely have. I've actually got Lamar Jackson top. I think he's going to have a great season. I'd have Josh Allen, then Jaden Daniels, then Jalen Hurts, and then I think Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
In that offense, we've seen how many points they put up. He would be my 5th one, but I probably would be taking some skill players before Hurts and Burrow. I think you can't avoid the upside of Chase, Justin Jefferson, and Bijan Robinson. For me, would be ahead of those quarterbacks. Maybe Jalen Hurts would be somewhere in the middle, but that would be my thing. I think you know what? I think Mayfield might even sneak in, and I think Mahomes might even sneak in.
They're
1st round.
6 and 7, I think, for me. I think Mahomes followed by Mayfield, I think, is possibly my 6 and 7 for sure.
Yeah. But if they fell out of the 1st round, I wouldn't be surprised. I think they're turn guys, right? Mayfield, and that's kind of surprising where Mayfield is, right? But that's just purely based on last season and how he played.
Yeah,
and those wide receivers he's got. He's in a dangerous offense. I think this year.
He absolutely is. Yeah, and that's just adding to his value. And I think that's kind of the flip side of Mahomes. It doesn't necessarily have that. It's such a weird kind of weaponry that he has now in Kansas, and Kelce isn't what he was. That connection isn't what it was, but it can be lethal in game, in clutch situations, but in fantasy terms, it's kind of dropped off. So I think that's led to the devalue of Mahomes. He will give you big time points every so often, but he's not doing it at the rate that he once was.
So I'm taking Lamar. Did you say you were taking Josh Allen? Sorry.
Yes, Josh Allen would be one for me. He's got
Okay.
more rushing touchdowns than Christian McCaffrey in his career.
Right. And Mark, who was that year for? Was that for
That
Allen
was
or
for
Jackson?
that was for Jackson. Lamar's my number
Oh,
one.
you're on the Jackson train.
Yeah.
And Ketts, where are you?
Yeah, I think I'd go Jackson QB1.
Okay, wow, 3-1. I was expecting Allen to get the wins, and I thought you'd go Jaden Daniels, Mark, as well.
I mean, Daniels is 3 for me. Unbelievable rookie season. You kind of have the potential sophomore slump in your head, and that can always affect fantasy as well. But just so much of a threat with his legs, as well as that lethal arm. Like, can't not have him really high up. I get the injury concerns certainly, Si, but he didn't. He only had a minor knock in last year, so hopefully that's the same.
I'm just so unconcerned about Jalen Hurts' floor. And he scores so many rushing touchdowns. And I even think that after what happened this offseason with the tush push drama, and I think the feeling that maybe it will be banned after next season, maybe. I worry that the Eagles are just going to take the piss with it this year. He scored 14 rushing touchdowns last year. He might score 28 this season.
Yeah, to be fair, they might just take the piss full stop because it's just such a lethal offense. So, yeah, he's got so many weapons, and as you say, the tush push helps. That's why he's definitely top 5.
Yeah.
So the thing I struggle with is who is the 8th quarterback, right? So let's assume we've got Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, and Baker Mayfield, right? I think that's your top 7.
I
in
think
some order or another.
I don't know. I think assumptions have already been made. I mean, I would be wanting Bo Nix before I sniffed Patrick Mahomes.
Okay, well, that's what I was going to say, because I think, Bo Nix is in this conversation. I wouldn't be taking him there. I think we've got such a small body of work. I'm expecting a sophomore slump, but I think you're right. I think that's the other name that people are saying there.
Yeah, Bo Nix is definitely, I think, was 8 for me. Potential 8/9, because I think there's another name. But sorry, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say the team feels like it's on the up. Just a completion monster. And with a little bit of rushing upside as well. I don't know. I think this maybe more as a fantasy quarterback than a difference-making NFL quarterback, right? Not that I think Bo Nix is bad by any means, but just in the sense that I think maybe he'll be a better fantasy quarterback than a real life one this season and going forward. I just think he fits the mold to be a really solid. And it's a bit different when we're talking about Superflex, where Bo Nix might be going at the turn of the first round. But when you're talking about single QB leagues where you kind of hit that drop off, I think Bo Nix kind of might be in that mid range, sort of in between the high end guys that go early in the first 3 rounds and then those later end guys. Bo Nix might be that one guy that I think you could potentially get some value in like kind of the 6th, 7th round or whatever, wherever it is he goes in single QB leagues, compared to shoving Justin Herbert in and being disappointed every other week.
Well, that's the guy. That's the guy for me that I think's at the kind of knocking at that, because I know he's getting pushed down because everyone's saying this is the Jim Harbaugh offense. It's not a passing offense, but I don't know. I still think Justin Herbert's a guy that's ready for a breakout in this league. We've seen the arm talent. He's got the size. I just think I don't know. Who else in that next group are you taking?
I think for me, CJ Stroud has to have some sort of conversation here. I know it wasn't big numbers last year, but he's still an excellent QB who can ping it round, and if he has the weapons there, if his the rookie wide receivers boost him as well, I do think he is a viable, strong option for being a top 10 fantasy QB.
Yeah, and this is why it's interesting in one quarterback drafting. I think this group's fascinating. There's so many question marks. You talk about Kyler Murray, Dak Prescott, Jared Goff, Drake May, Trevor Lawrence, Tua Tagovailoa. I mean, on his day, he can be a devastating quarterback. Matt Stafford. There's some names later on that I find really, really interesting, and I think I'm going to be taking skill position players over these quarterbacks, because what's the thing about the quarterback is what's the points difference? And you're right to bring it up, Ketts. I think it was about the rushing upside. So and that's why we've got those Allen, Jackson, Daniels, Hurts at the top, because they bring you that rushing upside. And who are the later guys that are going to bring you that? Fields, maybe.
Potentially Cam
we've not
Ward as a
mentioned
rookie.
Fields.
Yeah.
We've not mentioned Fields from a fantasy angle. I feel
No.
like he was generating so much buzz, and then he's got this dislocated toe, and it seems to have almost, I don't know, like plucked him out of relevance. And I don't know if it's actually maybe he's going to be a value all of a sudden for people. I just worry with him that it's going to just go so poorly. I don't know. Maybe that's one of these teams where he doesn't even end up finishing the year. Who knows?
I mean, is there an argument for doing a strategy of taking Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson, because both of them have got rushing upside, right? And then, but they could be getting you points. If you do the handcuff thing, that could work out.
Well, the thing is, I don't think you would even need to necessarily do the handcuff thing because both of these guys might go undrafted.
Right,
So,
well, that's what I'm saying. You could get real value. You could take a Trevor Lawrence and both of those guys, and then you're absolutely set, I think. Right, and that's a good late round strategy.
Don't know if I'd be more comfortable with that in a 2 QB than a 1 QB.
Yeah,
potentially.
Possibly. Well, let's talk about 2 QB. So, let's talk about 1 QB. Let's talk about 1 QB. Well, I got that wrong. So who do you think is the number 1 overall pick in a 1 quarterback league?
No, sorry, not quarterbacks, just
not quarterback
any
overall,
position.
just round 1 in a 1 quarterback league. So we're probably not looking at a quarterback going. Who do you think is number 1 overall? Si?
I think you're hard pressed not to. There's a guy I want to take if I'm in that position, and I'm not going to get the option, so I'm not going to have to worry about it this year. But I think if you're being smart, it's probably Jamar Chase.
Right. I think you're right.
I think it's tough to even argue with that.
I can't argue with that. Yeah. If Justin Jefferson had more solid quarterback, then maybe we've got a conversation. But otherwise,
should we just? I tell you what. I'll mention all the names that I think you can make any argument should be the number 1 pick, and you stop me if you think any of them are crazy. Jamar Chase, Saquon Barkley, CeeDee Lamb, Jahmyr Gibbs. That's where I'm cutting it off at that point.
CeeDee Lamb's a really interesting one with Pickens now in that offense. I'm sure Lamb will still get the targets, but I don't know. It feels less. I
wouldn't
less
take CD over
about
Jamar.
Lamb.
Yeah, it would be strange.
I think there's 2 names. I think if you're picking first, you're picking between Jamar Chase and Bijan Robinson. I think that's it.
Bijan?
Yeah.
All right.
I don't think it's Barkley.
Why Bijan? I mean, what's leading you to believe?
Because you've got I think that offense is going to lean on him. I think we're going to see a Bijan explosion this year. Part of fantasy is predicting is not repeating what's happened last year, but it's about predicting what's going to happen this year.
Very true.
I think Robinson it's time. It's time. I think he's going to take over the league.
It might just be the Drake London and Kyle Pitts of it all, but I'm so tired of waiting for Falcons players to become the fantasy beast that they're meant to be.
Especially Kyle Pitts, man.
I'm just not doing it. Maybe this is unfair on Bijan, but I'm just not doing it. I'm not being the guy that's going to be left holding that bag.
Okay.
The bag I'll be holding is called Jahmyr Gibbs, and I'll be running to the bank with it.
And you will meet me in 2026 when I am holding the Ashton Genty bag, because that is.
Oh. Okay.
I'm not. I don't want to get on the hype train of that in 2025 just yet. We haven't seen any of it yet, but I'm telling you, 2026. I think that's where I'm possibly going to be leaning.
Hold on 1 second. So just before we move fully onto talking about the top running backs, because I'd like to get into that, let me just and see if any of you guys have got any more as well. Just on the quarterbacks before we kind of move off them fully. I just want to shout out a couple of deep sleepers I think are good options here. Geno Smith is apparently going as the 26th quarterback right now. If you think the Raiders are going to be better this year on offense under Pete Carroll and Geno Smith, and Geno Smith's been slinging it with the Seahawks the last couple of years.
Not a bad shout, yeah.
He might be undrafted. You might be able to get him for $0 in an auction league. So he, for me, is definitely, and then it's the sophomore guys for me that I would want to bet on. Either pick your poison, Michael Penix or Drake May. I think Drake May is going to cost you a little bit more because of the rushing upside, and people are kind of high on the Patriots this year and what they're building there, and we'll see how that goes. Penix may be a little bit more risky, a little bit more boom bust. We haven't seen quite as much of him, but he looked good in the few starts that he got, and he was kind of a gunslinger, so he's got some, potential there. Maybe he's like a late ad. What do you think of those, Gav?
Yeah, good. I mean, it's not a bad strategy to, if you're going to wait, you're in a single QB league, just wait the hell out,
See who's there.
and then take a veteran. Like I'd be targeting Purdy if he fell,
Mhm.
a Prescott, a Goff, or a Stafford, one of those guys, and then pair that with Cameron Ward or Penix, like you say, or JJ McCarthy or Drake May,
Mhm.
or even Anthony Richardson or Bryce Young, or someone that you think's got a chance. Shador Sanders, even maybe if he has a great preseason. Whatever you feel, whatever happens. But someone that you think might come through later in the season that gives you massive upside, but you've got the floor of a Matt Stafford. That's a pretty good strategy in single QB, but because paired with that, you're going to have awesome wide receivers, right? Because you've waited and you've got a massive roster. So that's definitely something I've had success with previously.
To be clear, the opinions of Gavin Marshall and Shador Sanders are not necessarily the opinions of the rest of the UK Steelers podcast.
Which is true.
Absolutely.
Do not draft Shador Sanders.
So wait, by that kind of logic, there, are you drafting both Joe Flacco and Shador Sanders?
You could do. I think if you're going to do that, you're going to want to take another quarterback.
If you're going to do that, just go home and then come back again in 2026.
Just think about your life for a second there. What
Well, he's telling me
Kenny
if you've got
Pickett
Justin
and Dylan
Herbert,
Gabriel.
right? Now, if you've got Justin Herbert, let's say, or Tua Tagovailoa, and then both of those quarterbacks, you're in pretty good shape, I think, because you can get all those guys late in the draft, right? So you've got a good roster.
Did we even mention Caleb Williams?
I was just about to mention Caleb Williams, but I wasn't sure if I missed that amongst
I
arguing
was
with the
trying
kebab
to
shop.
Yeah.
Oh, wait 1 second. You've been arguing with the kebab shop?
Yeah, I've just cancelled it. They've been
Oh,
2.5 hours.
no.
2.5 hours for a kebab. That is unreasonable.
On a Thursday night. Quite right. And Amy's not taking it too well either, so
Not surprised.
I'm in the doghouse. Anyway,
I tell you what, that's the worst kind of kebab bread. The one that doesn't arrive.
We can all agree with that.
Poor Ketts, no dinner.
Yep.
Ketts, order another kebab now. It'll be here in 15 minutes.
Trying to talk quarterbacks with you guys and do that at the same time.
Let's focus on the kebab choice. Where are you going to go?
No. Let's focus on Chicago. That's much more interesting. DJ Moore, Roma Dinze, and Luther Burden. That's a pretty damn good room with Colston Loveland and Cole Kmet as well. I know, Caleb's still up and coming as a quarterback and he's only got 1 year experience, but I quite like those odds. I know the offense was rubbish last year, but there's potential there. At least it's a fun thing to be involved with.
Yeah, you're betting on Ben Johnson turning that whole situation around, and you're betting on the offensive line not allowing him to be sacked 68 times.
Yeah, he needs to be running forward rather than laterally and backwards. Yeah,
but he threw for 3,500 yards last year, and you've got to think that everything's going to improve on that offense. So I don't hate it. It's probably not going to be a project I get involved with very often this season, I don't think, but it's certainly one that I can see people betting on and winning.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, should we talk running backs?
Let's do it.
A bit more holistically. So let's talk about Saquon just off the rip, because I want to ask what your thoughts are about Saquon. Obviously, just otherworldly season last year. If you had Saquon Barkley, you probably won your league. So it feels like it should be simple, but as you say, Gav, it's not about just repeating what happened last year. It's about predicting the future, and nobody has ever had this level of volume and gone on to be anywhere near the number one running back again the year after. So
yeah, I struggle to believe history is going to repeat itself. I'm sure Barkley's a great pick, and he's definitely a first round pick, but I don't think you can be guaranteeing him to be lights out like he was.
I just think if I'm going to bet on someone to break this trend, I just think what I saw out of Saquon Barkley last year and the way he ran and the vision, the strength, and the offense that he was on, everything was so well put together, and it feels like the Eagles are really just running that back. That maybe the emphasis won't be quite as high on him, and maybe they'll maneuver things around a little bit. But
that's what they had to do in the Super Bowl, isn't it? They shifted the emphasis, because otherwise, I don't think they win nearly as handily if they don't. So, yeah, there'll be a shift of mentality for sure. But at the end of if he's still white hot, then they'll just shift back to focusing on him because he'll just be unstoppable.
So assuming he's healthy, throughout the season, I just can't imagine a world where he doesn't end up as RB1 again. And this is the thing, right? So Mark, answer me this: if you're sat there and for whatever reason all the top running backs aren't there, you haven't got the option, and you have to take a running back here with your first pick, and you've got the choice now with the second pick to go Saquon Barkley or Jahmyr Gibbs or Bijan or even Christian McCaffrey or Derrick Henry or whatever. Who tickles your fancy out of that list?
I mean, out of it all, I probably would say Saquon because of last year. You can't really I get Gav's excitement about Bijan 100%. I think that might slightly be more hope, but at the same time, he is a very good running back. He will get you fantasy points if if Atlanta can actually sort themselves the hell out. But no, yeah, that's obviously not a bad option. But I just think Saquon is. It feels like I think Saquon is the safe option. I think he's definitely the safe. Well, who can blame me for picking him if it goes wrong? Sort of vibe,
Right?
Like Christian McCaffrey was like a couple of seasons ago, and you can't entirely rule McCaffrey out as well. He seems to be getting back to full fitness, doing the workout routines that he's been doing when he was fully fit, and if he can get back to where he was, then you've got definite competition there. But yeah, for me, if I'm going safe pick, I've got to go Saquon.
It's Jahmyr Gibbs for me. That's the name that
That's
I want
the other.
to pick.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the sexy kind of like. Yeah, this guy had an absolute tear and could easily do that, and then some more. With David Montgomery is a very good piece to him, but it's not affecting Gibbs too much in terms of his fantasy value.
Yeah, and the pass catching and maybe there'll be some touchdown regression for Jahmyr Gibbs. He got 20 touchdowns last year, but and that's the thing with Ben Johnson leaving. Am I putting too much stock into that? Is he still going to be an elite fantasy asset regardless? It might just be enough where if I was faced with that decision, I might ultimately, out of cowardice, to be honest, run back to Saquon.
Right.
Even though Jahmyr Gibbs is the name that I kind of want to take. I want that decision almost to be made for me, right? I want Jahmyr Gibbs to be the
exactly. That's what I was going to say. These guys at the top, for me, if I'm looking for one of these hero guys, these guys are all in play.
Yeah.
It's just about how the draft board falls. They're all good. Barkley, I want Gibbs, I want Robinson. I take McCaffrey in the right situation. So I don't really think that's the kind of point. I think the point is, who are the guys do you think that are the running backs that might explode? Like, who are the ones that you think could have that Barkley season?
Well,
do you think it is Gibbs?
Gibbs very much could do. I think there's I think there's three. You've got those three names: Barkley, Robinson, and Gibbs are your big three out of there. McCaffrey could do something.
I don't feel like this is going to be an explosive McCaffrey season. I think this is going to be.
It's going to be kind of
a solid season.
Yeah,
kind of return to form,
slowly
but I don't
bringing
think
it back. Yeah,
too risky.
I'd say possibly. Like Genty could be a guy that could explode out of nowhere.
I mean, I was trying to avoid saying it, but you've put it in the ether now, so Ashton Genty all the way, baby. Like,
I'll give you some other names. I think this could be another big Derrick Henry season.
Mm-hmm.
I think I don't think he's shown that he's impervious to age. So old father time hasn't caught up with him yet.
Oh, yeah.
I'll give you two more names. I think that could explode a bit later. Bucky Irvin.
Yes, thank you. Yes, I've got him in both exploding and value because people just overlook him.
And the other guy, Chase Brown.
Yeah,
I think Chase Brown could explode.
Yeah. Look at that.
Yeah, Chase Brown is unsurprisingly the guy that's shining at the top of my list as undervalued. Bucky Irvin, I still can't get on board with. He's just so unsexy. I'm so uninterested.
How though? Because he's such a sexy player. Like
he's juicy. He's got that wiggle. He's got that juice. That
he
bounce.
Doesn't go down. He's just tough as nails, but also just great to watch. Oh man, you got to get on this Bucky Irving train, son.
All right.
Yeah.
Before it's
natural agility.
Me and Gav are shoveling the coal in this bad boy. You've got to get on here.
Got to get on it. Ketts?
I think Ketts is sorting out some kebab.
Ketts is organising kebab.
I must admit, all this kebab talk, I've just ordered a kebab. I couldn't resist. Like, my mouth has been watering. So, Should we talk about the dead zone?
Right, yeah.
Well, I didn't know
Right.
if I mean, I had a couple of other like
Oh,
lower
sorry.
value,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
just kind of value guys. I
Go
think
on.
possibly you need to be looking out for. Uh, I'm not entirely against the idea of not as a kind of RB1, but kind of a solid secondary RB to kind of throw in. I'm not against James Conner still. Like I still think I know
Right. So
Trey Benson is here and there with the Cardinals, but I still think they lean heavily on Connor, and I think he's still got a lot of juice in him.
this is why I want to talk about the dead zone, because to me, value comes after the dead zone. So for me, Connor's a dead zone back, probably. Only based on sort of ADP and where you look at it now. He's sitting firmly in the range where I'm not taking a running back.
So where
at
is
the
the
moment.
dead zone? Because James Conner, where I'm looking at here, is RB19.
Yeah, it's not so much about the running back rankings. It's more
Okay.
about where they're going to be taken in the draft. So if I'm taking a running back in round 1 or 2 and not taking a running back again until round 7, 8, Connor sits in that dead zone for me, where I don't want to be taking a running back there because I just think the wide receivers in that range are going to do more for my roster. So if Connor falls and becomes a value pick, i.e., he goes into round 7, 8, 9, I'm taking Connor. I like Connor. Connor's a good player. Good situation. He's going to get volume. Yeah, Benson's nipping at his heels, but it's more about who are the running backs in the dead zone. The dead zone to me is where I'm targeting wide receivers, and I'm going to hope that someone else takes the running backs. And I think it's kind of Alvin Kamara, Amarian Hampton, Chuba Hubbard, Joe Mixon, Connor Swift, RJ Harvey, although I really like RJ Harvey and I'm hoping that he falls into the value range. And then David Montgomery every year is the kind of epitome of a dead zone running back. It's a guy that, yeah, he's a good running back, but I would much rather have the upside and the consistency of a guy that's less likely to get injured in that range. But so are you particularly high on those guys and you're going to be taking Connor, Mark, in no matter what?
I'm somewhat high on him. I mean, it's him, and I think James Cook has definitely got value as well.
Yeah, he was on my list as well of the value picks.
Yeah, it's just a strong team, a strong offense, and a strong back as well to boot. Yeah, I think these are.
Worried about Ray Davis eating into, and also Josh Allen eating into Cook.
Josh Allen more so. Like Ray Davis had a fine rookie year last year, but I don't know. They seem to they've put a lot of stock into James Cook. I mean, has he had that extension yet? Have they? I know he's. I can't remember if they've actually worked that out yet, but I think the consensus is that he's going to be the guy. So I don't know. I really like the upside of him, and yeah, the same with James Conner. I think these are guys that I could possibly see taking a bit higher. Again, it depends on where the board is. And RJ Harvey, I absolutely agree. I love RJ Harvey. I think he could be one of those dead zone guys that you're talking about as well. But it's depending on how the board fell. I think those two and maybe those three guys are guys that I'd probably be eyeing up.
Yeah, a couple guys I've written down as potential deeper sleepers. I think DeAndre Swift is a guy who is interesting. He's obviously a name brand that's way devalued after the whole move to Chicago and everyone's kind of moved on from him. But part of me thinks that Ben Johnson's going to come in there, look at that room and kind of say, DeAndre Swift's the closest thing I've got to Jahmyr Gibbs.
Maybe. I'm kind of mid on him. I'm kind of not excited particularly. But
for me, that's I draft him late and maybe his role ends up massively outsizing where he gets drafted.
Fair enough. That's true.
I think that's possible. Trayvon Henderson is the other option in that range.
Trayvon Henderson, he's the headline value pick for me.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely. I think that guy, the fact that he does the pass protection, he's a pass catching back. He could be your poor man's Jahmyr Gibbs, I think. In a sort of flexing offense that's finding itself. That's definitely a guy I'm targeting as if I'm doing RB hero RB, that's exactly the kind of player I want as my second RB round 7, round 8. Literally, I'm thinking, okay, I'm looking at drafting an RB. I'm not even going to be looking at who's being taken, and it's like I'm RB's back open for me in my strategy. Is Henderson there? Yes. Click, take him. That's kind of how I'm looking at. And I'll tell you some other names on that list. Caleb Johnson is another guy that I would be looking at as my RB2. Brian Robinson. Even Javonte Williams, we're not talking straight away. We're talking a couple of rounds later. I think he's due a round bounce back. And Najee Harris is the other one. Even with his one eye or his scorched eyes, we know he's a volume back. So these guys, those volume touch guys in a high running back offense, give me a bit of Najee.
The only comment to make about Najee is the fact he's got Amari and Hampton as well in that same back room. But equally, I think they're both going to do very well.
Yeah, there's room in that offense for two running backs.
I think Najee is going to frustrate Amari and Hampton owners more than the other way around. Because people are going to get Najee at a value, and people are going to overdraft Amari and Hampton. I think.
Funnily
but we
enough,
shall see.
I don't know. I kind of had it around the other way around in my head. I don't know if Hampton's going to really break out and frustrate some of the Najee owners that think he's going to have a good year. I actually had Najee as one of my guys to avoid in this draft. I just see a world where it's Hampton who's taking the reins on that, and I understand Najee's definitely a volume back for sure, but like if Hampton gets running, then I think that's going to be a split that goes the other way. Also, once the Titans realise that Tony Pollard is absolutely nothing and actually give their best back, Tyjae Spears, the ball, then Tyjae Spears will get the respect he deserves, and I still hold out hope. And I'll still draft Tyjae Spears at the back end of drafts because I still believe that he has something to get to offer.
Well, we'll see about that. Talking about guys at the back of drafts, who are your sleepers?
Running back?
Yeah, running back sleepers.
So there's a couple guys. Bashal Tootin.
Ooh, interesting. That's interesting because I've got Tank Bigsby.
Or Tank Big. Yeah, so I actually have. I wrote them both down and like it's kind of like depends if you think Bashal Tootin could maneuver in, and I think a lot of it depends on what happens with Etienne, right? If Liam Cohen comes into the Jags and is like, I really am not interested in Travis Etienne, then maybe Tank Bigsby and Bashal Tootin both have a role in that offense. But if Travis Etienne actually ends up swallowing still like 50-60% of the snaps at the running back position, then it's going to be a case of Tank Bigsby probably is going to be the guy that's safer because he proved it last year, and Liam Cohen's going to want someone he can rely on. But
I don't know if I'm touching any of those Jags RBs until next year, until I know exactly what Liam Cohen wants to do.
But you're trying to get ahead of it. This is the thing. I wonder if Bashal Tootin might, with the speed that he's got coming out, and so I wonder if he might just be a bit of a surprise that nobody sees coming.
Would you be amazed if Etienne was traded?
No, wouldn't be amazed at all.
Wonder what the market.
So then suddenly Tank Bigsby becomes
huge.
A bell cow.
Yeah,
almost.
that would be. That's a great shout. Yeah.
So that's almost. I'm almost betting on that.
Yeah.
With the Bigsby one. I think the previous regime was wedded to Etienne, not this one, and there's been some question marks, right? So I think Bigsby's shown that he's a good hammer at the goal line, so you might get some touchdowns, and then you're just hoping for volume there.
What do you make of J.K. Dobbins this season? Because a bit of a weird situation that he was like unsigned for a lot of the offseason, then picks up with the Broncos now. And I think that's an interesting role for him because obviously RJ Harvey, everyone's assuming that he's going to be the guy to draft again. But I think this is a similar situation to the one we discussed a minute ago with Amari and Hampton, where maybe J.K. Dobbins is the guy that sits around, at least for the first half of the season, and frustrates everyone.
I think the injury, we saw the drop-off at the end of last season, and I think it's the injuries catching up with him. I think I think he's hit the wall, unfortunately. So I'll probably be avoiding Dobbins this year, as a Dobbins owner last year, and was in smug mode was activated early part of the season. Well, that dropped off and went away.
Well, yeah, RJ Harvey and bloody Audric Estime as well in that backfield. I mean, that's definite, strong competition as well to be up against J.K. Dobbins. It's another running back room I might, kind of want to potentially avoid in that respect. You just don't know who's going to be getting those reps. But I tell you what, I know they've got Tyrone Tracy, but I'm going to say it, Cam Scatterboo is a sleeper for me. Absolutely a sleeper for me with all the upside that he's got in the receiving game as well. Guys already getting first team reps as well. I think it's going to be a big Cam Scatterboo year, man. I am so hyped to see him.
He's getting first team reps?
Yeah.
Wow. See, I in dynasty drafts, obviously.
Yeah, Dynasty, 100% get Scalaboo. God.
Well,
yes.
I'm saying like in dynasty drafts, which have passed a lot now. I put a lot of my stock in that area into Jaden Blue because the Cowboys running back position just was so vapid. I was like, there is no plan here. And now the talk is that Cowboys coaches think he's lazy.
Well,
So-
he's done all right in camp so far. Like he's done better than people thought after those comments. Like he had a nice
Okay.
one-handed grab and catch in camp today, and yeah, he seems to be building up. God, they need it though because Miles Sanders is. Like,
Mhm.
you want to talk about a guy you want to avoid? Good God, but yeah.
But Scalaboo's ADP is really sorry. Just to go back to him. He's quite high actually. It's above Charbonnet. It's above
I'm
Ramondre
not
Stevenson.
surprised, in that respect. I mean, yeah, he's opposite. He's above what a lot of RB2s in that respect.
Yeah, he's running back 34 in ADP at the moment.
That's crazy, man. I'd be taking Zach Charbonnet before I took Cam Scouter, but I like Charbonnet as that weird handcuff player who always plays like 5 games a season and then scores 30 points in
I
all
mean,
those games.
Kenneth Walker's going to get injured at some point.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell you my sleepers. I previously mentioned Ray Davis. I think he's primed for a bigger season, and then and on a similar thinking, Blake Corum. I think he's.
You
he's
think
a guy
I've
we're
kind
gonna
of
see
passed
more
on
of.
Blake Corum now? I've like given up.
Do you think so?
Maybe this is the time because Kyron Williams. I mean, he's like a top 10 running back pick supposedly, and it kind of feels like maybe they don't even like him that much.
Right.
They need some
I
sort
think
of
they
run
like
game.
Corum.
I think. Christ,
Yeah.
if Matt Stafford just
It's
apart.
not certainty, but that's why these guys are sleepers. Then the other name I've got, and I wasn't massively high on him in the draft, but I think situation is good, is Dylan Sampson.
Well, especially after the
Junkins.
Quinton
Junkins
Judkins.
Yeah,
got
exactly.
done in.
Yeah. That could
So
be
I
a
think
shout.
that could
yeah.
work out.
Shout, yeah.
Yeah.
Another one to keep an eye on, just because it's stupidly decent ADP value, is Tyler Algier at the Falcons. I know that they've got Bijan, but he's a pretty damn good RB2.
They love using Algier as well. Like, yeah, you see him on the field more than you would expect to. So, yeah, I could see
He's
that.
got running back 43 last year. If you can get him at pick 173, according to this, that's decent. What, 6th, 7th, 8th round value, I guess.
Well, even later than that.
Even later than that, yeah.
I don't even know where that is. It's so deep. I don't even know where it is.
Right. And so, are there any running backs you're just straight out avoiding?
So I wanted to ask you, not necessarily answer that question, but maybe it will be for some of you. Is this the year Alvin Kamara is conveniently like swept into the dustbin of fantasy history?
I
don't know. He's a tricky one.
Yeah, I'll take Kamara if it feels like I need to. I'm not going to go all out to get him, but if he falls nicely, I'm trying to think whereabouts I would take him.
I think he's a falling target. I think he's
he
still.
is, yeah.
I think he can still play, and I think he'll still get points and be a decent person on your roster. But the offense is going to be so bad that there's the upside is capped. I think. But
what
I
else
still
is in
think
that
there's-
room? Like who's he up
Yeah,
against in
exactly.
that
So he's a tricky one. I think he's still going to get drafted. What's his
Henry
ADP
Miller.
actually? I think he's still going to get drafted high, and he's probably going to do okay. But he's just not a guy you're excited about. He's running about 15 in ADP at the moment. That's middle of the second round of running backs if you're taking them. So where is he actually in the draft?
I mean, Kendre Miller, Devon Neal, Cam Akers. That's the rest of your room there. Like Devon Neal, I like, but
yeah, he's
early days.
37 in he's running about 15, but 37 in ADP. So back end of the third round. That's kind of dead zone-ish for me, so I'll probably be avoiding. But if he falls into like the 6th, 7th, then I'm taking him.
Yeah, that's what I think. That's probably about right for me. Then, yeah, maybe the 5th for consideration if the board's not looking great for me elsewhere. But otherwise, yeah, I'm definitely not taking him as high as the 3rd.
Yeah, but are there any guys that you just even if they fell, you're not taking?
Tony
obviously,
Pollard.
everyone.
Tony Pollard.
Tony Pollard
100%.
for you.
Not touching him. Don't believe in the Tony Pollard at all. It's on a bad offense as well, like with a rookie QB. Nah, I don't want to touch him. Plus, I think their best back is 100% Tajay Spears.
Sure,
I think Joe Mixon is a name that.
That's one I've got. It's the top of my list.
That's just
the injuries.
struggle one. Yeah.
Do you know another one for me? Because I think he gets so highly drafted is Devon Achane.
Oh no, I like him, but I'm not. He's nowhere on these lists for me. He's not an exploding guy or a value guy, but I like HM.
He's an elite fantasy back. It's less to do with him and it's more to do with the Dolphins. In that I think I'm just avoiding the Dolphins. Full stop. Like that offense, just Tua, like the way they seem to be headed. I don't know. The whole thing scares me. It feels like any of it could fall off the deep end at any moment. Everyone's injury prone. I don't know. I want to steer clear of that offense on the whole.
Just another guy I'd look to avoid, perhaps controversially, is Breece Hall.
Yes, I had him on my list as well.
Just because I think Braylon Allen's going to continue to come on strong and take more and more reps. So I think I'd be nervous if he was still there. It's not one I think I'd definitely be totally all out on, but I think I'd be looking for another option if that was the pick.
Yeah, absolutely agree.
I tell you, my guys, we've talked about him already, but Travis Etienne, guy I'm avoiding. Just I don't like that situation. I don't like what's going on there. I kind of like the player, but it's so uncertain. You could just be drafting a ghost, a nobody that just falls off your roster.
It's over for Etienne.
It might well be. And the other guy is Ramonde Stevenson. The fumbles, a player I really like or have liked, but I think he's coming. I think it's coming to the end for him. I think this might be it. So I'm not going to be taking him.
I've sadly gone down with that ship over the last few years. I've been. I wanted that to succeed for so long that the fumbles killed him, man. It just.
Yeah, man. I think Henderson's in town, and he's the shiny new thing.
I don't think there's any fantasy player that has cost me fantasy matchups with a random like minus 0.40 score more times than Ramondre Stevenson in the last couple of years.
Yeah, it's been brutal.
Where do you stand on Rashad White? Because we give Bucky Irving all this love. Like
I like White. I think he's a draftable player, but you know what you're getting. It's it's a committee back on a good offense. So it's running back 3 on my team. I'm thinking, I'll take White, but it's a guy I'm taking later.
Him and Sean Tucker are the reasons why I'm not buzzing about Bucky Irving, to be honest. There's just so many options on that team offensively. I don't know.
He'll buck the trend, don't you worry.
I'm sure. All right, let's talk about some wide receivers, shall we, Gav?
Yeah.
Top wide receivers you think could explode? I've got here, and I'll give you a couple names because I actually am not. This is the thing that I wanted to say about the wide receivers this year. As much as obviously if I had the number 1 overall pick or the number 2 overall pick, then sure, like Jamar Chase or CD Lamb, yeah. But I'm not that intrigued, to be honest, by wide receivers at the very top of the draft this year. And I think the first name I look at on the kind of the ADP of wide receivers this year, I'm like, oh, maybe that's a name where I'm like, that could explode. Nico Collins.
Yeah.
A guy whose team seems to just have like lost all other healthy wide receivers at the time when he has become a superstar. He obviously has been a little bit injury prone himself, which is a bit of a concern, but I just think that if he stays healthy for an entire season, we could have a major, major breakout Nico Collins season. The other name that if I wasn't going there, I'd be looking at would be Brian Thomas Jr.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. The 2 names off the top of my list.
Brian Thomas, 100%.
Yeah.
Who just was unreal last season if you watched him. And I don't think he's going to be impacted volume-wise by Travis Hunter or, whatever else is going on there.
No, I don't think so either.
They're both big alpha dogs in, hopefully passing offenses. So I think that's why, I think it's more a play. It's more a judgment of how their quarterback plays than how they play, because I think they're ready. They're both primed for breakouts, right?
Yes. Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think that kind of possibly is also the case for Malik Neighbours. I still want to believe that Malik Neighbours is a guy that could explode. It's just obviously what QB play you're going to get out of him at New York. He's also not 100% healthy at the moment, which is a concern, leading into the season. But, I mean, he has such a fabulous rookie season last year. If you can get that going again, if you can get a good rapport going with the QBs, then there's every chance in the world that he could be someone who explodes.
Yeah. I'll give you the rest of my list here and see if you agree or disagree. So he kind of broke out last year, but I think he's going to kick on again, and that's Jackson Smith and
That's
Jigba.
literally the third name on my list because I had a mid-range and a lower range. He was the mid-range guy.
Yeah, and then I'll give you another one, and maybe it sounds like you're going to disagree with this one, but it's Drake London. I think he's
Right.
prime.
So I've had a lot of Drake London, and I think that again is colouring my analysis of I'm not keen to be back in.
Right.
It's not that he's been bad either. It's just unsexy, you know. As the fantasy, who is it who says this? This is on one of these shows I listen to. They always say like, name the Drake London play. Name the memorable Drake London play.
Well, it's just box. It's just a sideline box out, but there's quite a few of them, isn't it?
He's like this great wide receiver, and nobody can remember a single play he's ever made.
Yeah. But I think with Penix, I think he could thrive. You know, new situation. But then the next two names on my list are two sophomores, and I think you've always got to have some. You've always got to be looking at sophomores because that's where wide receivers. You know, we've seen the JSN breakout last year, and it's Xavier Worthy and Roma Dunze.
I think Xavier Worthy's a massive shout there. Yeah, especially with what the Chiefs have at the moment. I think he is going to be a big time target for Mahomes.
Yeah, I think it depends on where we are with Rashid Rice.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Right, it's a bit of an unknown, but I think Worthy's got the speed, the juice. I'm expecting big things.
If the value is good, I mean, I'm not quite sure where he's going to end up getting drafted. He's like wide receiver 30 on the list I'm looking at. So I suppose actually the value I don't hate. It would, I'd be starting to consider him in like probably the 6th or 7th round. I don't really know what's going on with that Chiefs wide receiver room. I don't know what's happening with Rashid Rice. Is there a suspension incoming? How healthy is he after that knee injury?
But this is why I want to do the hero RB, right? I want to load up as many of these guys as I can, and give you that upside shot. Because if you've got Brian Thomas, Worthy, Adunze, and let's say Jamar Chase on your roster, you only have to start 3 of them in a given week, or you can start 4 of them. You've got some other guys to bring in, but if they all go, that's a league winner, you know. And then the other guy is a veteran guy, but I think he's going to get overlooked. I think he's still got it, and that's Devontae Adams. I think he could go off. New situation. I think he's getting slept on.
Depends on Stafford. I'm a little bit concerned about what's going on there in terms of QB. But if he has the QB play, then absolutely, I think Devontae can still do a job. But that just concerns me just a tiny little bit. If it's Jimmy G with Devontae Adams again, avoid at all costs.
Is Adams not a little bit quarterback proof? Has he not proven that?
Don't know. With Jimmy G, it was a bit dicey, and it could happen yet again. So, yeesh.
Anyone else got any exploders?
Well, the name for me, and I hate to say it, is George Pickens. You know, are people not where he is right now? Like the names around him, I'd be putting him 5 names ahead of them. So, like for me, where he is, I'm like, I think it's crazy. Like the value is nuts, and maybe I'm overvaluing George Pickens based on what I saw in Pittsburgh, and maybe that's not going to translate or whatever. But I see the opportunity ahead of him and the talent that he has, and I'm like, I don't know what the ceiling is here.
Yeah, I don't know. It just we've seen it. It's so boom and bust with him.
It is.
It's hard to.
But I prescribe so much of that to the Steelers' offense, I guess, that maybe I'm willing to say with Dak Prescott, maybe he can get a little bit more consistent. I'd be taking him before I took Marvin Harrison or DJ Moore or. I got to be honest. I think I might take him before Devontae Adams.
Okay, well, let's hope.
I'm high on him this year. I really am as a fantasy asset. I could be wrong. Could be totally wrong. I like Jameson Williams.
I like he's one of my value guys.
He's one of mine as well. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and Zay Flowers as well.
I think Zay Flowers is way too low on here.
Yeah,
I'd have him 5 places ahead.
I think the problem with Zay Flowers is that he's a better player than a fantasy asset in recent seasons, right? Like the Ravens just have not, even with Zay Flowers, just haven't been able to consistently pass the ball that way. Like he went for just over 1,000 yards last season, only 4 touchdowns. That's the other thing, not a big red zone target. Zay Flowers. But he's an exciting player. And like you say, Gav, with that hero RB strategy, I think he's the kind of guy.
Yeah.
Great to have in that kind of bundle of wide receivers you're choosing from each week.
Yeah.
Your dice rolls. Anyone, any more exploders before we move on to value picks?
Exploders.
Khalil Shakir?
Maybe not. We haven't really talked about Amon-Ra. Like,
Yeah.
think he's as much as we like Jameson and how well he could do, I still think Amon-Ra gets you plenty of fantasy points. I just think because that Detroit team, if it's the same as it was last year, will just put up massive numbers again. So you'll get points wherever you go, really, on this Detroit offense.
Yeah, you can't get any more consistent than my boy Amon-Ra. My only concern with Amon-Ra is that like he's almost like peaked in terms of his value in fantasy circles.
Yeah.
And I worry if that's the worst time. Like this is the one season where even I've not been like over my steez about picking him up because of just how high he is. Like, I mean, you've got to have like a top 6 pick at this point.
And also offensive scheme change.
A scheme change, which scares me.
That's
right? And those two
that's the
things
other
combined.
concern for sure. Yeah.
Same with Justin Jefferson, not the scheme, sorry, but I'm concerned with Justin Jefferson because I'm like QB change, injury history in recent years. Even though I like believe in the player more than anyone else, I just don't know that fantasy wise I want to be involved in it compared to some of the guys around him.
Right, I'm very aware my kebab, which I ordered,
Oh, yeah.
is
Okay.
about to arrive. But I want to give you some of my value picks and see if you like them or not.
Okay.
Jameis Williams, we talked about. I think he's prime for a breakout. Chris Olave, I think he's going at great value. Yes, terrible offense and injury concerns.
He's on my
but you're gonna
avoid
get him
list.
Is he? But he's going to go so late that I think he's a guy I just want on my bench just in case.
How late
just in
will he
case.
go? Where is he going? He's wide
Where is
receiver
he?
33 right now on this list I'm looking at, just after Xavier Worthy and around Rome Odunze.
Okay, so he's a
Okay,
guy that I'm
yeah.
hoping to fall. I'm not going to take him at that
And
level.
he might
but-
fall a bit further, with like you say, with
Yeah.
injury.
Yeah, I think
kind
people
of-
are just going to be so concerned about this Saints offense that he probably
Yeah.
will fall. So, but I mean,
Yeah.
I've not got him on any list here, but if I have to, and if he's there at a reasonable price, then maybe. But I'm not. I'm a bit too concerned about the real life aspects of Chris Olave that will affect fantasy stuff.
I think he's a quality
concussions.
player though. If he's
Yeah.
if,
If he's
he
healthy,
can go.
yeah, he's very
Yeah.
very good. But yeah, that's the concern, isn't it?
And then the other one is another sophomore breakout. Is
Gotta be
Keon
Rick-
Coleman.
Oh, I think I say Ricky Pearsall.
No, well, he's another one.
Ricky
but I
Pearsall's
need to
on
see a little-
mine, but that's no surprise to
Okay.
anybody.
So sorry, who did you say, Gav?
Keon Coleman.
Keon
I think
Coleman.
It's time. It's time for Coleman.
Well, the
And with
Bills
that, I'm
need
gonna go and-
something, don't they? So yeah.
Yeah,
So
I'm not
excuse
sure
me
about
while I
that.
go and meet this moped driver and collect my
Yeah,
delivery.
no problem. Yeah, because I think Khalil Shakir, you see, is going to be the big Bills wide receiver, so I'm not too stressed about Keon Coleman in his sophomore year.
Yeah, no, I get that. We're
who are
a
you-
two-man show right now here, so
Yeah,
we've
no,
got
I mean,
two
we
people
got-
going out to get kebabs here.
Only on this show would half of the hosts disappear to
To get
collect kebabs live in the recording. Insane.
It just that's what this show's all about, man. I mean, kebabs are just the natural order of things around here.
So who are you avoiding in the wide receiver room?
Who am I avoiding? Who did I have down here in my avoidance? I'm kind of with you on the Dolphins thing. I think I'm avoiding Jalen
I'm not dealing
Waddle.
with Jalen Waddle or Tyreek Hill,
No.
to be honest.
Yeah,
I'll do-
Hill as well. Yeah, I'm just. I think I'm kind of done with that.
Yeah. I don't want to touch any of them. They all have this like horrible like fish stink on them, like the smell of SeaWorld.
the smell of dolphins. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
And it's weird because none of them are bad players, and the offense is actually. This is what's so stupid about it. It's like an oxymoron. The offense is actually really great and exciting in any particular one game. My fear is that I just feel like it's going to collapse at any moment, and I can't deal with the anxiety of that.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I'm necessarily not touching this guy, but I think it's somebody who I would leave later than probably most. Is DJ Moore.
Yep, same. I think
he's-
you're going to get a lot of that this year.
Yeah, I'm a bit unsure about Moore. So
He's been a bit disappointing recently, and then you've got quarterback questions and Burden, who's been having a nice camp by all accounts, and Adunze, who I think is going to break out. So I can see why you're depressing his value.
yeah, I just a little bit concerned in that respect. I tell you who else I'd not. Again, I don't know if it's an avoidance thing. Not mad keen on taking Devontae Smith. Like, I don't know. Like AJ Brown is like, I think in my eyes is the clear one in that. I'm not saying Smith's terrible and he will get the odd touchdown here and there, but I don't know. I don't know about his value in this offense with everything else going on around it as well.
He's in that realm to me of like the very high end, like startable number twos on good offenses. It's like him, Jordan Addison, guys like that, where it's like I just think they've got like a relatively decent floor.
T.
because they're just-
Higgins, yeah, those.
yeah,
sort of
T.
guys,
Higgins
yeah.
is great. Yeah, is the premium one. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Again, maybe not avoid, but just have my concerns about, and just I don't know if I want to touch them. It's kind of difficult to kind of guys that you're avoiding. It's just you kind of really just going down the list, and it's guys you could probably easily avoid. Someone like God, I mean, who we got down here? Maybe Rashad Bateman. I don't know if like necessarily want to have Bateman in there, although the Ravens.
I'm avoiding Garrett Wilson.
I knew you were going to say
Of course
that.
you're
I was
avoiding
going to ask you. I was going to even say to you, what round would Garrett Wilson have to fall to for you to take?
I'm just not drafting him. It's just not happening. Not happening. But I tell you who else I'm a bit wary of drafting is any Green Bay wide receiver.
It's difficult, isn't it?
Just at value, I'm just.
Well,
I'm going to let someone else take that risk.
With one exception this year, I think, and that's Matthew Golden, because I think what's going to happen is he's going to sink a little bit. I think people are going to take Jaden Reed before him. Maybe. I'm not quite sure what the general consensus is. On this list, he's wide receiver 51, which is a little bit below Jaden Reed. But I just think that they haven't taken a first round wide receiver in all these years, and he was one of these guys that we actually thought was kind of a better, like, ready to go wide receiver. I think he could be successful in year one, Matthew Golden.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
I
just,
wonder
so,
if
it's
he
just
just-
so uncertain. I can see it where Golden doesn't even see the field. It's just it's such a risk.
We've had these years now where we're all like, "Oh, what is going on with the Packers wide receiver?" We got Christian. What what's his name? Christian Watson. Yeah, I would say Christian Wilkinson. Christian Watson and Jaden Reed and all these different guys. Like, who's getting the snaps? I wonder if the answer might just be, well, even though all these guys are talented, we like Matthew Golden so much that we're going to run this offense through him, and everyone else is going to be our number two.
It's a possibility.
It's a possibility. He's a
can't...
rookie, and we don't know right now. But I just where he is ADP right now, very late. I wonder if he's a potential.
Yeah, these are tough. It's not like I'm avoiding. It's just I'm being wary about them. And but if they fall, and I think there's value. Another team, the Panthers. Just a bit wary of them.
Of course.
Like, I'm not really sure how it's going to
work.
work.
But I am quite like T-Mac is a sleeper for me. Like Ted McMillan is a sleeper.
But I think he's going to get drafted high. That's the thing. I think people thinking he's a number one. He's an alpha dog. Yeah, he's potentially the best player in the best wide receiver in the draft this year. Yeah, I'm going to take him. I think he's going to get hype, maybe from maybe people that casuals or whatever are going to boost his ADP, and he's going to go high. I'm a bit wary.
Potentially,
Tech
but
casuals.
Yeah. I don't know, because he was kind of losing steam at the end of the draft process as well. But then, still got drafted high, and I think deservedly so as well. So, yeah, it's him and Xavier Legette, and who else? Who else is on this bloody Panthers team? Is Thielen still on that Panthers team?
Hey, that tight end that I like, Tommy Tremble.
Tremble.
And then outside of Nico Collins, any of the other Houston guys?
Well, yeah, the two rookies on there, like Higgins and you just don't Jalen Knoll. Yeah, don't really know.
Dell and Kirk.
Well, Tank Dell, yeah, God. But Christian Kirk is a weird one.
Yeah. So that's just too much uncertainty.
Just a couple of names we've not said, just near the top of the list, just to see your thoughts. Very quick. Puka Nacua?
He's getting drafted so high, according to ADP. That's the issue. And with Adams in town, I'm just just a little bit reticent.
Very Amon-Ra St. Brown-esque for me, where a guy we all know I love, but I just the value is so high this year.
But he's still, he's still putting up good numbers with Cooper Kupp on that offense. Now it's just replaced Cooper Kupp with Devontae Adams.
I just think if you're chasing value like I am, he's just not a guy I'm targeting. I just think he's getting taken too high. Where you're paying for last season.
Yeah,
you're paying hie.
You're going to struggle to get more out of that than you're putting in. Right.
I'm just so worried about the quarterback situation at the moment with the Rams.
Malik Neighbors.
That's it. Again. Yeah, I think he has every opportunity to be an exploder. But again, just what's the play going to be like?
Well, I think you're paying the price for him to be an exploder. That's the problem.
Yeah, he's already wide receiver 7.
He's already up there.
It's a lot. Yeah, I wouldn't be taking him ahead of Brian Thomas, but I'd be interested around, in round 2, but we'll see. And then Lad McConkey's the last name I just wanted to throw out there.
Yeah.
I worry that he's been a little bit overdrafted, actually.
Yeah.
I'm sure he will have a great season, but just is really so much of this offense going to go through Lad McConkey that he's going to be wide receiver 10?
You've got a rookie that doesn't seem to be having the best time in camp in Trey Harris. We'll see how that goes. You've got Quentin Johnson, who is Quentin Johnson, and see where that goes.
Doing Quentin Johnson things in camp,
exactly.
dropping
Yeah.
balls.
Although apparently, other than that, he's been okay. But
and Mike Williams retired.
Yeah, so I think McConkey, he's kind of your clear guy there in some respects. So yeah, maybe that is why he's getting so highly touted.
Should we talk some sleepers?
I think I've given my sleepers, to be honest. I'm trying to think. Who did I not? Did I?
Yeah, I had Ricky Pearsall.
Maybe that was while I was chatting to the delivery driver. I'll give you mine. Wan'Dale Robinson, absolute target hog.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Where's his ADP? He's got to be deep,
right?
He
is 67, wide receiver 67 on this list. Right below Jaden Higgins, actually.
Yeah. And then two Steelers-related guys. Deontay Johnson. Isn't he just primed for a bounce back?
I think he's done. Where even is he now?
Exactly. He's at the Browns. But where are you going to get that guy? I mean, he's going to be so late.
Yeah, I don't even know if he's on this list.
I don't think he's going to take a bloody snap at this rate. I think he's just...
Well, he's worth a shot for me. If he's my last spot on my bench, that's, I can drop him. And if it's not working out by week 4 and I need to pick up a tight end because my tight end's gone down, fine. But I'm going to take the chance. And the same goes for Roman Wilson and Jermaine Burton, two sophomore guys. Oh, no, Jermaine Burton's a 3-year guy. But
you can't bet on Roman Wilson to be fantasy relevant. I really don't think you can. I mean, Calvin Anderson's going to be more involved, I think.
Hey, these are my last pick in the draft kind of guys.
When has the Steelers wide receiver 3 ever done anything for you?
True. But
actually, there is one other one. Jalen McMillan. I think he could be. I think should be much higher than. I've got him 71 in this list in front of me here.
That's a great show,
Jalen McMillan. Because if Godwin's not going to be recovered back from this injury, Mike Evans is getting on, but is obviously still going to be the wide receiver 1. But I mean, Jalen McMillan has a cracking year.
I suppose the fear is that he drafted a first-round wide receiver, right?
Yeah, Buka kind of but I mean, for a redraft, while Buka's still getting used to the system, maybe, and not maybe there. I think McMillan could be a hell of a shout.
Oh yeah, I mean, as a deep round sleeper, especially early in the season, a guy who you could maybe slot in early. Yeah, for sure.
100%.
All right, let's talk about some tight. I'm conscious that I if it would be helpful to get out of it just before midnight.
Yeah.
So is it all right if we push the summer scouting, Mark?
I don't mind that because it looks like Ketts is still in kebab purgatory.
I don't really know what's going on with Ketts' kebab.
Right.
Maybe I am mid kebab as we speak.
He's nibbling on it. How's it going, Ketts? Can you give us a quick update on the kebab? Is it good?
Yeah, it's quite fresh actually. Good ingredients. It's only a pitta. It's not a naan, but it's a pitta served in a tray with plenty of good quality kebab meat. It's got a nice garlic mayo kind of side sauce that you can pour on as much as little as you want. Salad's really fresh. Did it get
delivered? Did it get delivered bill, or did it get delivered like this one here, where I get bread in with meat, and then the salad is in a separate box for me to administer how I wish?
Yeah, it's kind of compartmentalized. So the bread was in like a separate foil packaging, so it was nice and fresh and warm.
Oh yeah, I like
so that was really nice. And then the rest of the kebab, I'll put a picture in the group chat or tweet it out. It was like the various different sections. The salad was in one corner, and then a big healthy portion of chips as well. So yeah,
right, you went chips, huh? Right. Well, bon appetit. I'm saving mine until we finish talking about Titans.
Oh, you're not going to eat it? Feel free to tuck in, Gav, and just go.
No. I want to wait. I'll give it a little burst.
You like to have the sit down and put your little napkin on and.
Yeah, I don't want to be choking on my little bit of chicken there while I want to talk about Sam Laporte.
Perpetual hell.
All right.
Oh God, that's the new one.
Right.
Speaking of choking chickens, we were about to talk about Sam Laporte. Oh, sorry.
Unbelievable. Nice. You asked who are the elite? How many elite tight ends?
Yeah. So how many? If you're playing in a 10-team league, how many of those teams are going to have elite tight ends that are must start every week?
4.
Do you think?
4 for me.
The way you worded that slightly changed my answer. Like, must start every week. Well, yeah, then it probably becomes 5. But when I was just looking at it as like, who are the elite tight ends?
Yeah,
I think
so
there's 2.
yeah. Sorry, not super elite. I just mean who are your absolute starter tight
Right.
ends?
Yeah. Okay. Then I think Brock Bowers, Trey McBride are the elite.
Mhm.
Then I think George Kittle is still in the sort of in his own tier, sort of there almost in the middle. And then TJ Hawkinson, Sam Laporta would be guys where I'm like probably not going to start anyone else over them. And that's where it probably ends, and then decisions are
Do you
being
think
made.
so? Kelsey's off this list now, is he? Do you think?
Yeah,
I think
I
so.
think so.
Yeah, I think this is
I
the
don't
first
know.
year he's off.
I still think he's here. Just about. He's hanging on with his fingernails. I think he's in this group. So I'm going to go 6 with
Okay.
Kelsey.
I feel like his involvement's going to be like maybe fall off a cliff is too hard of a way to put it, but comparative to what we're expecting from Travis Kelce, he's going to fall off a cliff. I don't think he's going to be like a fantasy relevant tight end in as much as he's going to be in a top 10. I think he's going to be like maybe like tight end 15 to 20. I could be wrong. Maybe he'll be more involved than I expect. Maybe they'll lean on him as the season goes on and it's all reliable.
Yeah, I just think with a player like him, with his nous, it's not all about physicality and movement with him. There's just an X factor with him, and I think you can still. I think this might be it. This might be the last year, but I think he's still got a little bit more to give.
Shall I give you the names I think I'd take over Travis Kelce if I think David Njoku. I think Evan Ingram on the Broncos. I think Dalton Kincaid even though I'm a little bit out on that, I'm happy to attempt at least to see if that goes anywhere this season.
I've not given up on Kincaid, especially in fantasy value. I still think there's something.
Tucker Kraft of the Packers. I think Colson Loveland is interesting with Ben Johnson on the Bears. I think all those guys I'd probably be interested in taking over Travis Kelce.
Really?
Maybe not over, but like instead of, because I'm sure Travis Kelce will probably go, higher than some of those guys still. But, I'm just not particularly interested in Travis Kelce this year.
I think sometimes in fantasy, some people are too quick to move on.
Yeah,
I think that might be the case here. I'd still be taking Kelsey above Ingram or Njoku or any of those guys you mentioned, Kincaid.
I don't know if I'd take him over Njoku myself, but I do think it probably ends there, and I'd probably have Kelsey at like 7-ish, 7, 8-ish.
Yeah, maybe I'm just ready to turn the page.
I think I might be lower on Hawkinson than you guys. I don't know. I kind of had 4 elite, and I kind of had Hawkinson just outside of it.
I get you. He's kind of the least exciting out of all these guys.
Yeah, but he is reliable. I understand the reliability.
So he gives you that floor, and I think these tight ends sometimes they peak towards the end of their careers, or sort of mid to late, and I think that's where he is. So I think Hawkinson could be due for his time.
Could be McCarthy's best friend as well.
Right.
I think I'm a little bit biased towards TJ Hawkinson because I feel like I've had him as my tight end in almost every league for the past 8 years. Like he's just literally been my old reliable in like almost every dynasty league. I've just had TJ Hawkinson everywhere.
Wait, hang on. So I need to see the Toy Story meme of you dropping TJ Hawkinson, Woody, with Sam Laporta, Buzz Lightyear in your hand. I don't want to play with you anymore.
So that's kind of what I wanted to ask you was where do you think the tight end list? So they're your must starts, but you've still got, I think, a couple of players here that you're drafting a tight end, not expecting to stream tight ends, if you know what I mean. So where does that list continue down to?
Yeah, so I think that includes some of those names like an Njoku and Evan Ingram and Tucker Kraft. Maybe you could probably convince yourself you could get like 14, 15 deep. Maybe do you know who the name might be? It might be Kyle Pitts.
Oh, I don't know.
Maybe Kyle Pitts is the name that you reach and you're like, once I'm drafting this guy as my first tight end, I'm going to start to need to stream at some time.
I wonder if it's pretty thin this year, and I wonder if it doesn't get past Mark Andrews.
Really?
Does it even involve Mark Andrews? I
think, maybe even because he maybe is how much is likely.
Yeah,
snapping. Yeah, I mean, obviously he's just been likely. It looks like he'll start at the week 1, but obviously has the injury concern. But I mean, otherwise, yeah, I just don't know if I can trust Mark Andrews.
I don't know. I think Mark Andrews might be pushing. He might be thinking he's not a Hall of Fame tight end, but I think he's thinking he could push himself into the conversation for being a Hall of Fame tight end. So I wonder if we see a little resurgence from him.
The irony is that I actually think that drop in the end zone in the playoffs is single-handedly the reason he'll never be in the conversation for the whole of it.
Right.
Like, that is such a disastrous moment for a career that's never had any playoff success.
Right. It was a bad moment.
Tough. Who do you like a bit lower down on the tight end list this year? What do you think of Kyle Pitts? Let's talk about Kyle Pitts very quickly because he's just such a lightning rod in fantasy circles for what
He's
now.
a meme. The thing is, Kyle Pitts is a meme. Is a fantasy meme.
Yes,
It's like you see the granddad, the dad walking with the son that's got Alzheimer's, and it's like, what are you thinking about, Dad? I'm just still wondering if Kyle Pitts is going to be a fantasy asset. It's like it's just been going on for so long. It's become a joke now. So I just think he's a guy you just, unless you own him in Dynasty, you just avoid because you don't want to be the guy that takes Kyle Pitts in your draft.
Well, I've heard that this year is the year according to the Falcons.
It's like fusion, nuclear fusion is 20 years away, and Kyle Pitts is ready for a breakout. That's the two things you're going to hear all the time. I don't know. I don't even think you can have a rational conversation about Kyle Pitts and fantasy.
Yeah.
It's too memeable. About Jonnu Smith.
I think he has a chance to be like a really fantasy relevant, mid-level tight end. My only question with Jonnu Smith is there a bit of a ceiling cap?
Who knows if he's taking running back snaps?
Well, yeah, I don't know if that's going to be a main feature of his game, and I don't know. I wonder if he's going to be capped in terms of like end zone usage. Like we know that the Steelers' offense has been historically awful in the red zone, and then you've got other tight ends on the team. I don't think you can draft him as your first tight end and feel good about it. That's what I'll say.
No, yeah, I do 100% agree with that.
No, I think he's your take. He's a streamer. A streamer. You take him. You hope he works out, and if not, you drop him and move on. And that's the kind of range we're into. Kind of catch it and fall down tight ends. Hunter Henry, Dallas Goedert. Mike Gesicki, these guys, Cade Otton.
I'm going to say Cade Otton is the only name around this range where I'm looking at it and going, maybe that's like a kind of low-key sleeper name where I could kind of get away with starting in most weeks where I haven't invested anything in the tight end position. You miss out on one of those high-end guys. We've all been in those drafts, right? Where, for the best of the way you want to work it, like all the guys you would have taken at tight end just go in half of the draft that you went in, and then by the time it gets around to you, you're like looking at Kyle Pitts and Dallas Goedert as your first tight end, and you're like, forget it. I'll just take Cade Otton with my last pick.
Yeah, or you could look at some rookie upside like Mason Taylor.
Mason
or
Taylor
Elijah,
intrigues me. Yeah,
or Elijah Arroyo, Seattle. Maybe they're going to go. Or what about Brenton Strange in the Jags? He's suddenly thrust into a good starting position.
You're going to thrust into a little Strange.
Yeah.
God.
So yeah, they're guys I'm looking for.
Yeah.
I think
one sophomore guy. I really didn't like him coming out of the draft, but he seems to be carving a name for himself. Is Theo Johnson in New York? He seems to be getting a lot of hype, and if again, it's all kind of about QB play, but he could be a low key sleeper in all of this.
The Bengals have just signed Noah Fant.
Yeah, that's
does he become more fantasy relevant than Mike Gesicki? Probably not.
No, I don't think so. But it's an interesting.
Fant's never done it. It's never happened. No.
What about Tyler Warren?
The rest of these guys are just.
Colts is a weird one anyway, but that could be.
I'm more interested in him as a dynasty asset.
Definitely a dynasty asset. But in terms of redraft, I think you could possibly do worse than some of the lower rounds.
Yeah, he has to look less like one of the college Jeopardy contestants before I'm willing to draft him.
Nice.
I must say,
well, Titans a crapshoot. We know.
Yeah, it is. It really is a bit. It feels like more of a crapshoot this year than. But I feel like we probably say that every year.
Yeah, but you've got two absolute, barnstormers at the top in Bowers and McBride.
And I will say, I think there's enough tight ends this year to go. I really do think there's enough tight ends to go around. Like if you've missed out on the top 5, 6, 7 tight ends, and you're looking at an Njoku or a Tucker Kraft or a Colson Loveland, I don't think it's over. I think these guys could have good seasons. I really do. Even a Jake Ferguson.
Jake Ferguson's kind of an interesting one. Yeah, that was kind of a name that was kicking around. I was thinking potentially.
Yeah, you can just get into playing that game where you work out who the defenses are that are giving up, tight massive, tight end point scoring, and then you just pick them up 2 weeks ahead of when you need them. That's not a bad strategy. Just stream them.
Maybe Zach Ertz still brings it, aged
Yeah, who
God
knows?
knows what, 38.
Yeah.
All right. Any more fantasy thoughts? Best defense.
Who knows, man? That's just
Draft the Broncos
Steelers.
or
There you go,
don't.
Steelers. Draft the Steelers. Enjoy.
Oh, yeah, fair enough. I'll take the Broncos.
Who's your go-to kicker?
Kicker?
It's got to be the Boz, isn't it?
Yeah, Boz, of course, yeah. Or Dicker the kicker, just because of the name.
I'm not allowed to draft Boz in any league that I'm in with Kathy because she'll just get very upset at me.
Yeah. Understandable. Or you could just go Harrison Butker and just go all in. Can't beat him, join him.
Christ.
Yeah. I just think get rid of kickers.
Yeah, it does seem like the kickers, like it's the death rattles of the kickers in fantasy. Like even some of the final leagues that have been holding on seem to be getting rid of them this year, which is a shame. I always vote to keep the kickers. I think there's a skill in understanding which kickers to take each week. I've won leagues.
There's no skill. It's a lottery, man. There's no.
I know it's not a lottery because I have 100% won leagues by successfully streaming the right kickers because nobody pays attention.
Okay. Fine.
But look, people don't like to do things that they don't understand, and so they want to get rid of kicking. It's fine. It is what it is.
If you want to hang your hat on winning leagues through kickers,
It's the same reason people don't want to play IDP, but that's fine. Casuals.
Bring
I like
punting
IDP, but
into fantasy football.
Listen, if it was
That's
up
what
to
we need.
me, we'd have one position for every position on the field. I'd have 22 starting players and a kicker and a punter.
Wow.
How would you do fantasy long snapping? Like, I'm trying to figure out what that is.
Just the only option is that you just lose 100 points if anything goes wrong.
If you snap the ball over the QB's head in a playoff game, you instantly lose the league.
Yeah.
Wow.
I will say, Kez, I've got to admire the fact that while you were off mic, enjoying your kebab, you still were sending the memes through. Yeah,
Yes, sir.
you're on top of your meme game there while being in the background. So kudos to you.
Yeah, it was the one of Sire's Mo throwing Barney out the bar, Barney being Hawkinson. And then it says a new fantasy season, and then Hawkinson's back in the bar in Sire's fantasy team.
It's true. It's what it's like. Can I just say, Ketts, that pitter is so sad. I mean, this is just so emblematic of what I'm talking about with the pitter. I mean, Gav, look at this. Look at this,
that
Gav.
kebab looks pretty sad.
It's not about the kebab. Forget anything else but the bread. I don't even want to comment on it. But just look at that pitter. It's not fit for purpose. You ain't getting 3 strands of that kebab in there. It's a disgrace. Get this man a nan.
Yeah, I agree. A nan is better than that.
I mean, I did force it as much as she could take, to be fair. This poor pitter. It was mistreated.
I bet the bottom fell out.
Oh, no, because I had a firm grip on the sides. You've got to keep the structure.
Thank you.
The structure of the bread is important. That's why you need a good meat delivery system.
Your first meat delivery system was
I've got a nice, thick, meaty man's nan.
Your first meat delivery system was so bad it took 2.5 hours. You didn't even get it in the end. So
yeah. Epic fail from what was it called? Spice slice or something?
Slice of spice. Sizzling slice.
Yeah. I hate that they've got a mention on the podcast.
Yeah, they've got more mention than the successful. Can we get a shout out to the successful kebab shop with the bad pitters?
Yes, it was Little Italy, I think it was.
Little Italy. I think I've probably been there, or at least one of the 1,500 kebab shops called Little Italy in the country.
Probably a fair few of them.
Let's wrap it up. I got a prior engagement I need to reach at midnight, so we should just be wrapping it up.
That doesn't sound shady at all.
More illicit dealings.
My God.
See, no, it's what you got to remember is that there's those amongst you, right, that live in the nocturnal, right?
Yeah.
We have the power cosmic, and we exist between the hours of midnight and 6 a.m. and we're out there.
Fair enough.
Couldn't be me.
Fair enough. Enjoy, you creature of the night.
All right, well, gentlemen, been a pleasure as always. Anyone watching the Hall of Fame game?
No, but I
I'm going to bed after I've eaten my scram.
I can at least do my Greg Rosenthal impression now, because I think we can all safely say that football is back.
It sure is. It sure is. My Twitter feed has gone from politics to football, and I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to get back to finding a way to monitor Twitter because I feel like I don't know what's going on because I don't look at Twitter anymore, and it's like the reason why I used to know everything that was happening as it happened. So.
Don't look at the For
I
You
think Twitter's
page.
calmed down from the.
Yeah.
I think it's calmed down.
I think it's AIDS. I hate it.
Since Musk and Trump had their big fallout, I think it's slightly calmed down a bit.
I
Right.
don't think
It's
so.
not back to sort of
Good old days.
2016 levels, but it's
Just don't look at the
it's
For
not
You
bad.
page. Just look at your following page.
Yeah, that's what
Just
I should do.
keep
Yeah,
it
you're
on
totally
that.
right.
Keep
But it's
it on that
hard, isn't it?
page,
It's
yeah.
hard. This is what they do because they know what they're doing, right? They pull you in with the algorithm.
Yeah, don't
Ugh.
let them
I
do
do
it.
think since Musk has fallen out, I'm seeing more kind of anti-Trump things.
Shocking.
And yeah, of course, because he's got the levers, but it just means there's more variance than what it was. That period where it was the run up to the election and post the election, it was funneling you one way. And whether I disagree or not agree, I like the variance. I like the spectrum, and I just didn't like it that I was just seeing one side of the argument.
I just don't like knowing that the platform itself is what's pushing the narrative.
Yeah.
Well,
here we are.
Everyone's too busy
Welcome
getting
to 2025.
VPNs now, so yeah.
Yeah. How have you been affected by the great porn purge of 2025, Mark?
Not at all, but
Puritanical over there. Puritanical Mark.
pure of heart.
Hypothetically, he's been impacted by it.
Um,
Also, some breaking news, just to invalidate the whole wide receiver part of the show. Terry McLaurin has formally requested a trade.
Oh.
No.
A lot of rumors about. Are you seeing all the rumors about the Steelers? I don't believe it for a second, but
give me some scary Terry. Screw it. Let's just go.
oh, yeah, let's do it. Let's
Doesn't
double
make
down on
any
it. Let's
sense,
sell
but
the
I want
future.
it.
That just feels like an Eagles move, right? You've got
Woohoo.
DK
It does.
Metcalf, and then all of a sudden you're like, screw it. Let's just plug in Terry McLaurin.
Oh
Man,
man,
if they get Terry McLaurin, we're winning the Super Bowl. I don't care.
it was,
You heard it here first.
it was my dad's birthday yesterday. I'm just going to send this to him now and completely ruin his celebrations.
Yeah, if we get scary Terry, we're going to find a sound drop for him.
Oh man, definitely. It's got to be the Rick and Morty
And
one.
then
isn't
trade
it?
for Travis Etienne. And it's done.
Yeah, let's not do
It's
that.
over.
Well,
I don't care. No, that's
we just got rid of Najee Harris.
We've
Like,
got,
we
we've
we
got a
not
fine
plug up the
RB
room?
room. Kenneth Gainwell's fine. We don't need Travis
Sure.
Etienne.
Kenneth
for
Gainwell
God's
might be
sake.
better than Travis Etienne.
Yeah.
Right.
Anyway,
Okay.
yes.
Let's go. Let's get out of here. Enjoy
Right.
the Hall of Fame game if you are watching. Enjoy the rest of Steelers training camp for the rest of this week. We'll be back next week, talk a little bit more whispers. And yeah, I don't know what else. Maybe we'll discuss it midweek. We'll get back to you.
Well, yeah,
we'll work it out.
We'll hopefully get on to Garrett Nussmeier next week for those. Wow.
shall.
Yeah, it's yeah. Other than that,
Who's next on the list after him, Mark? So make sure we watch him as well.
I believe Lenora Sellers, I think, is the guy we should be watching next. Out of South
Yes, because we're
Carolina.
leaving our arch, aren't we?
All right. So follow along with who are those two QBs? Say
Garrett
them again.
Nussmeier, LSU.
LSU.
Yep.
And Lenoris Sellers of South Carolina.
You became one entity for a minute.
Yeah,
there.
we did. Yeah, that's
That
why I
was-
stopped talking. I was like, oh, we're just gonna we're just gonna
Merged
be
into
twins here. Yeah.
All right. Well, follow the show at UK Steelers Pod. Follow me at I wrote this. Follow the strange malnutrition entity of Mark and Ketts at Ketts NFL Mesh.
We do mesh. My God.
Follow Mark at Mesh NFL. Follow Ketts at Ketts UK. Follow Gav at GM Boom Up. Follow Ketts' Silly Kebab thing. Whatever that's called.
If you listen to this on YouTube, like subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Smash that
yeah,
like
that would be
button.
good.
Subscribe. Yep.
That would be helpful with the algorithm, especially now that we've been thrown off our original algorithm. It would be helpful if the new algorithm,
Absolutely. Just destroy that subscribe button, guys.
yeah, just in fact hit it, then unhit it, and then hit it again. Maybe that'll
Share
do
it.
something.
Share the pod. Share the pod. That apparently
Yeah,
that
that would
drives the
help.
algorithm. If you share it to someone else.
All right, that's enough. Goodbye. We'll see you next week. Love you all. Appreciate you.
See you later.
See ya.
Go Steelers.